the wrestling war, and he bought his competition in WCW. The very fate of WCW lies in my hands. And then he waited for 3 months and did very little with it. Backstage, he was trying to organize another show for them and couldn't get another show. And then they did King of the Ring, where they started an invasion angle. Now we're in this invasion angle, and WCW have invaded Madison Square Garden. Mike Awesome's won the Hardcore Championship, and we find ourselves July 2nd, 2001, as WWF's plan is to rebrand Monday Night Raw as Monday or as WCW Raw. WCW will get Raw, WWF will take SmackDown, and they'll be run as separate brands as we head towards the Invasion pay-per-view. And to kick this off, we're going to have a WCW main event on this edition of Monday Night Raw, which will be such a good sign for the success of Monday Nitro Raw.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea, right? Soft launch or relaunch this new product within your own very successful show. Give it the prestige final half-hour main event spot with new commentary and presentation and logos and Shane McMahon. But yeah, I bet you got some big stars, right? Some big stars, a great angle, and a very good match that fits what the WWF audience have become accustomed to.
Not only will it be a good match with big stars, it will have a clean finish, and it will really put over that this WCW brand is something that you should care about.
Something you should care about, and, really importantly, equal to WWF.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you know what's even better? Is they're doing this in the WCW hotbeds of Seattle, Washington.
Oh.
Or Tacoma, Washington.
Yes.
Which I don't know, is it different to Seattle? Either way, we're in Tacoma, Washington, who I don't think WCW ever ran a show in, which is why this crowd are not on board to watch this WCW main event between Booker T and Buff Bagwell.
I suppose the equivalent to this, of launching or relaunching a wrestling brand is like trying to launch a new wrestler in the ring with Bob Holly. You've got to prove yourself. He's going to put you through the paces. Hey, if Booker T and Buff the Stuff Bagwell can put on a great match and get the audience in Tacoma, Washington, then I think we've got something.
They can do it anywhere.
Some people might say that's setting it up to fail. But others... Others would say, sink or swim,
It's a sink or swim moment for them here in Tacoma, Washington. We're going to get into all of that. We'll talk a lot about Buff Bagwell. So it's funny you mentioned Bob Holly as well, because I've got some comments from Bob Holly's book, The Hardcore Truth, who speaks very openly about this invasion and his thoughts on all of the WCW names that have been brought in. But before we get to that, you might recall, as we were talking about King of the Ring, they were trying to get a Saturday night show.
Yeah, so just as a recap, if you've not seen the King of the Ring episode, go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. It's there. But the WCW was bought by WWF.
Yes.
And that sort of was announced on the go-home episode of WrestleMania 17. And then Shane versus Vince had that context at WrestleMania 17. And we had a few WCW guys watching from the rafters.
I would say that Vince versus Shane match does not have any of the context about WCW. That has more context about Linda McMahon.
Context in the grand scheme of things that have happened before now.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'll give you that.
And then, for the reasons Luke's going to go into, on the King of the Ring thing, WCW, WWF just kept changing their minds over what they should do with this WCW brand.
Yeah, essentially what happened was they wanted to have a new show. They wanted to be able to put WCW back on TV, rebuild the brand that way, then start doing some house shows, then we can start doing some pay-per-views and relaunch this promotion. The problem was they couldn't get TV time because wrestling's popularity is declining massively from what it was in 2000, in 1999 and 2000 into 2001. Part of that is because WCW has died. Part of it is because Stone Cold Steve Austin has turned heel and half of wrestling fans have decided to just not watch wrestling anymore.
And part of it is also because wrestling and most things have intense brief spells of hotness. And this is this has been hot since 1998.
Exactly, yeah, 1990. I suppose you could say 97, 98. Probably 98 is when it really does, that's a big peak of it, and then it just climbs up from there. Not the peak, because it just sort of keeps climbing into sort of 2000s.
The wrestling term for this back in the 80s, pre-80s, you would call it killing the territory.
Yes.
You would do hot shot angles. You would, an audience would become oversaturated and sort of cynical about a product, and they eventually move on to the next hot thing.
Yeah, it's a boom period.
A boom period.
We recently just had a boom period for professional wrestling when it felt like it was like the hottest thing on the planet, and we're now out of that boom period. I was listening to an old episode of the Lapsed Fan podcast reviewing WrestleMania X7, and Meltzer is a guest on that when they were doing their WrestleMania season. And Meltzer was talking about, like, when WCW closed, he was like, I'm going to have to start looking for other work, because I think that this wrestling bubble is going to burst within the next couple of years, and I need to find something else to do, because I think wrestling is going to completely careen in popularity.
Board games. That's usually the answer. That was our answer.
So they were trying to get this Saturday night show. And I'll bring this up because I didn't talk about this on the King of the Ring episode. The poll that they put up on WWF.com for you, the fans, to try and help them name this new Saturday night show. Do you want to hear what the options were?
The new Saturday night show?
WCW Saturday night show.
Oh, but we were going to have WCW Monday Night Raw.
So this was when they had this. What the original plan was to have...
Sure,
yeah,
it was an additional program.
So the original plan was to do a Saturday night show from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. When that couldn't happen, that's when they switched it to WCW will take over Raw, because we've already got that time slot. So here were some of the names that they pitched. WCW Climax. WCW Hotbox.
Hotbox?
WCW...
Wait. But the fans have submitted these.
No, these were fans come up with WWF.
What? The WWF have come up with these names.
And they're now putting it to fans as a poll to come up with some new names for this Saturday night show.
I just assumed the fans had hijacked the suggestion box like Boaty McBoatface.
WCW Hotbox. WCW Late Night Appetite.
What?
WCW Nailed.
There's a hugely... I mean, they're trying to still capture the 90s, right? It's 2001. Hotbox is
it's a weed thing.
It's a weed thing where you would... maybe you would wind up all the windows in the car and you would turn that into a giant bong.
Partake in the devil's grass.
I once did that at uni next to a crazy golf course full of dinosaurs. And I managed to do 2 holes, got very sick, and had to go back into the car.
WCW Primal Urge.
Come on.
WCW Turned On.
Look, the thing is, because you said Late Night Appetite, I now think these ones are quite good.
WCW Anarchy.
Okay, well, that's a classic wrestling program name.
WCW After Hours. WCW Defiance. WCW Uprising.
WCW Defiance isn't bad, because it's like, yeah, we closed, but we are still going. Uprising, I don't like as much.
WCW Saturday Nitro.
Well, that's the one. And you've already got the brand name recognition.
And the one that everyone knows. WCW Hard On Saturday Night.
I didn't know that.
For the record, few of those names apparently were like joke names that they put out there. They weren't seriously considering Climax, Hard On Saturday Night, Hotbox, Late Night Appetite, Nailed, Primal Urge, or Turn On. They were more seriously considering Anarchy, After Hours, Defiance, Saturday Nitro, and Uprising.
There's a really good Dilbert cartoon where they want to call the product this really good name. So they're like, yeah, but the manager always wants loads of pitches. So let's just fill it with really bad names for the rest of them. So of course he's going to choose the good name. And of course the punchline is he goes for the worst option.
Yeah.
Late Night Appetite. Hard on Saturday night.
WCW Hard On Saturday Night.
So surely it should just be called WCW Hard. And then the advertising campaigns would say it's WCW Hard on Saturday night.
Well, I think that's the gag, right?
Yeah, but you don't do the whole promo line as the title of the show, because then it's too on the nose.
I would say I would have voted for Hard On Saturday
Hard
Night.
on the nose.
I would have voted for Hard On Saturday Night if I was part of that poll.
And now I want to call something we're making Hard On. But not Saturday nights, just Hard On. It's the Raw Hard On review. We are going to be hard on Raw this week.
Or would you call it WWF Raw Hard on YouTube? So we're
Raw Hard on YouTube.
Yeah. Welcome to WWF Raw Hard on YouTube.
A Raw Hard On. Yeah.
Anyway, some notes from this week's Observer. There are 2 ways to cover the annual business reports for WWF.
Just for the sake of context,
Yeah.
to refresh my mind as much as anything. Then we had King of the Ring,
Yes.
which had a feud between Undertaker and DDP,
That's the official start of the invasion.
and DDP got buried
Very much so.
by Undertaker, and he will continue to get buried by Undertaker's wife on this episode.
Hey, he gets a couple of shots in here.
And then we also had Kurt Angle taking on Shane McMahon, and that's the famous belly-to-belly suplex through the glass.
Yeah.
Awful on Shane. But that's not really about the WCW thing.
No, not really.
But that's it, right?
Yes, that is the official start of the invasion because DDP has arrived, Booker T runs in and attacks Steve Austin. The WCW champion attacks the WWF champion in the main event of the show. Austin still wins, of course.
That was a triple threat against Benoit, who got injured in that match.
Yeah, very badly.
And Jericho.
Yeah.
Who, there was a threat that if Jericho won that belt, he might take the belt to WCW.
Or Benoit. It was,
Yes.
it was either Benoit or Jericho. If they won, they would defect to WCW. And then the following night on Raw, it was from Madison Square Garden. It's a really fun show of Raw anyway, because they're making such a big deal out of the fact that no WCW star has ever walked through the Madison Square Garden doors. That is WWF's home. It's their territory. The opening of the show is Vince coming out to talk about WWF's history with Madison Square Garden, and then plays a very sincere video package of his father's promotional work that he did for Madison Square Garden and all of the big shows that he put on there. And it's not like and someone's going to come out. No, Vince just shows the video and is like, just want to say thank you to my father.
Yeah.
And then he leaves. But then during the opening contest between Rhino and Test for the Hardcore Championship, we get this moment here. I do want to show this moment because this is an absolutely rad moment. And it's one that while you were away, I've been like, hey guys, come around to check this bit out. So we got Rhino versus Test here for the Hardcore.
Is like, what an unfair shake of the stick this guy got.
Yeah.
From ECW fans, from WCW booking, from the invasion ultimately.
Yeah.
He was like, I love Mike Awesome. I think
Yeah.
no one wrestles like that guy.
Yeah, his run with Masato Tanaka, which they then replay for that first One Night Stand, which is like the best match of One Night Stands.
It's one of my all-time favorite matches.
Yeah, he was so. I use the word awesome in ECW, but then it's the traditional thing of ECW: money issues, wasn't getting paid. The bigger company arrives, offering way more money. He goes to WCW and tanks and bombs into that company, and he goes to the WWF as part of this invasion, and they treat him very, very badly. I was watching a shoot interview with him where he was like, "It sucked." Being there.
I just don't like, he's got the size, he can wrestle, he's a big guy, good on promos, he's got charisma. But yeah, he also lost the fan support as well, the hardcores, because ECW were like, how dare you leave us?
Yeah.
Which,
while being the ECW champion as well. He leaves ECW while being its champion to go to WCW. And in one of the wackier moments of 2000, he then goes back to ECW for one more match where he defends the ECW championship against WWF's Taz, who wins the belt.
Yeah. A
WWF guy beats the WCW guy for the ECW title on an ECW show.
Yeah, that's when you know that the Attitude Era was eating itself.
Pretty much. And guess what happened to Taz then the following week on Raw?
Entered a feud with JR?
No, Triple H beat him. They made a big deal that Taz was the ECW champion, so Triple H beat him on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
Just so we're all clear who's the best.
It's never been about him.
So, there are 2 different ways to cover the annual business report for the WWFE. The company continues to grow, and the wrestling operation had its most successful year ever. However, as expected, the first money-losing quarter for the company since 1997, is what we've just had, and the biggest losing quarter in company history due to the XFL.
Of course. So this is July we're talking about. So is this the Q2
well, they said
financial
it's
report or the end of the April financial year?
They call it quarter 4, so it's the end of the...
Oh, okay, so this is the report of the end of 2000.
Yeah.
Which is widely seen as one of the biggest, most successful years for WWF.
But because of the XFL...
Because of launching a whole National Football League.
When you didn't need to... From the standpoint, since XFL is no longer part of the operation, it would seem to bode well for the future, except the wrestling industry is completely different today in dynamics to what it was even a few months ago, let alone during the last year. WWF-FE, which is World Wrestling Federation Entertainment, posted a $20.4 million loss in the fourth quarter, all due to the XFL failure. The league finished its only season posting a $93.8 million loss. Half of which is carried by NBC.
Yeah, and you double that these days to figure out, our rule of thumb, what it cost in 2000, via inflation, for 2026 terms as we are now, that's double that amount. So really, they lost 50 million overall, and the XFL specifically lost 200 million almost. But these days, God, that's a rounding error for TKO.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're couple of $1 billion a year.
At the Investors Conference, where the figures were released, Linda McMahon pegged mid-August for the time frame when SmackDown would be moved to Thursday night live tapings.
I didn't know that was in the kink box.
First date is set for August 16th, followed by August 23rd and Denver in August 30th in Detroit. The plan is to run every Thursday live, although there may be occasional exceptions. We'll get into the reason why they feel the need to do SmackDown live. It's currently being taped. So they do Raw on Monday and then tape SmackDown on Tuesday. But they feel they need to move SmackDown live. We'll get into that in a moment. At this point, even though the name change for Raw is expected to become effective shortly after the Invasion pay-per-view, the first rung of the schedule changes won't be until mid-August, with them starting to run Thursday shows. I'm presuming at that point the WWF cruise runs Thursday through Sunday. The WCW crew, which will run probably a Friday through Monday, weekly house show schedule starting in October, would up until that point likely only run Monday. During August-September, there will be WCW matches at all the house shows before they split into separate entities that won't meet again until a long time later when they've been apart a long time to do the interpromotional idea.
Yeah, so you have Invasion as the first thing, and then you have essentially the rematch War Games battle a year or two down the line. This Invasion pay-per-view is being done to give WCW the win so that they then get the show. And one of the angles that we're going to get on this Raw we're going to watch tonight is also a huge part of that, because it's going to be the divorce of the McMahons. Yeah.
Linda gets half, Vince gets half. That's how they split their assets.
And that's the main story we're all interested in. Even though...
Linda, no!
Look, it was an all-time great story leading into X7.
Yeah.
But Linda has no purpose after standing up out of a chair. That's all she's good for.
It's one of the biggest pops in WrestleMania history. Linda got some heat for suggesting that by going live, it would prevent internet sites from printing the results of SmackDown ahead of time, insinuating that was the reason for the SmackDown ratings decline.
Why did she get heat for that? Heat from who?
From everyone, because it's a stupid thing to say. Because Alvarez and Meltzer point out that they've been taping SmackDown since day one, and the ratings for it were only going up when people were posting spoilers for it. Now it's going down. They're like, well, it's a bad show and we're not putting any effort in. It's those damn dirt sheets. That's the problem here. The company is projecting more increases next year due to the addition of the WCW brand. They are projecting 3 million fans, which would be from an estimated 300 house shows, including WCW as a touring brand, which means they're predicting a 10,000 per show average. That seems optimistic, running a full schedule with split crews with an average ticket price of $32, meaning the projection is to average $320,000 per show, a number they're in the ballpark as of May, but that's a virtual elimination of split crews during the month and virtually all stars appearing at every house show.
That's, remember, WCW 2000 is when they start to dip below 2,000 fans for episodes of TV.
Yeah, I was actually looking at some house show reports from January 2001. ECW did 3 shows. Their last 3 shows they did in January. And they had like 2,500 in the Hammerstein Ballroom and about 2,000 at their last couple of shows. WCW had like 1,800 fans. Like ECW was outdrawing them.
Yeah. And now WWF, in their infinite wisdom, because we are New York, we know how to do things, they're just going to hit without any of the Hulk Hogans and the Ric Flairs. Oh yeah, we'll times that by a multitude of 10.
Yeah.
Even though all the signs point towards a business decline. Although I will say, when you're in the thick of it, it's very difficult to see an overall downward trend of an industry.
Yeah, and we're looking at
Not speaking from experience.
We're looking at it with the benefit of hindsight. Yes. Perhaps you can't see the wood for the trees in these moments.
I could really believe a position where they're going, this is the way we restart the boom.
Yeah,
where we can see that the boom's on the slight decline, so we're going to relaunch WCW, and it's going to be huge.
What spurred the Monday Night Wars to its hugeness? Competition.
Yeah.
So we'll just have our own competition.
And this time we can build to an actual inter-promotional pay-per-view, which, the idea probably never left Vince's head, because is it 02 that we get the brand split?
Yeah, this is basically the seeds of what would become the brand splits in 2002. Yeah. Also on that conference call, she said that WCW will run its first pay-per-view in October.
What's that going to be called? Erection?
Well, I mean, we'll cover it when we get to it in our timeline, the first WCW show.
When's that?
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes style. It never happened. OVW is doing really well for itself. It held its last dance, the final level event in the Louisville Gardens that drew nearly 3,000 fans.
God damn, that's a lot.
In fairness, Mick Foley was advertised for it. He had to pull out due to her injuries, and he was replaced by Undertaker and Kane. So they sent down some big stars. Jericho was on the show as well. At the show, Undertaker versus Leviathan was the proposed main event, and then that was changed to Undertaker and Kane versus Leviathan and DDP. Meltzer writes here, Leviathan's size was somewhat exposed, as he's actually shorter than Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, of course, Leviathan is Batista. And on OVW TV, the only reason I want to bring this up is because the main event of that show was Prototype defeating Randy Orton. And Prototype is
John Cena.
They were still doing it back then.
This is the seeds being planted for the next 25 years of WWF programming. A lot of the WCW wrestlers were all brought up this week to train in the new rings, which are larger and have different ropes to get the kinks out before they do matches on live TV.
Oh, I didn't know WWF rings were larger. Of course, I'm pretty sure they're 20 by 20 a WWF ring.
18 by 18.
Interesting.
WCW ones as well, which is why some people will point out the main event that we get to, why it feels like Booker and Buffer are sometimes out of position with each other. It's because they're not used to that size of the ring. Now, it may seem like it's a minuscule thing, it's just a ring, but when Billy Gunn went to TNA, he was like, it's so hard to wrestle in this ring. When you're used to this 20 by 20 ring, going to that 6-sided ring, which is so much smaller, he was like, it was weird. Yeah,
of course, the 6-sided ring has so many other issues. Like, it's just harder to take bumps in. There's not as much bounce on the canvas.
The ropes are tighter to run against.
But you'd think, 2 feet, what difference does that make? Well, a lot of wrestling, when you get to that stage, is muscle memory. And the most muscle memory thing you do is running the ropes.
Yeah.
You know where the ropes are. 1, 2, half-step turn, usually. And here there's like an extra bit.
Yeah.
That can throw... I imagine that really throws people off.
If you're just trying to do the international.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole different ballgame because there's 2 extra feet there. Attempted best explanations for some recent burials. Jerry Lynn was buried because McMahon just didn't see anything in him.
Disrespect on Jerry Lynn. And it's so sad because we know this isn't the last time he'll be disrespected.
I know.
Chris Sabin, that mophead git.
Well, he heard. He was like, I heard that Vince McMahon didn't see anything in you, so I don't either, Jerry Lynn.
Poor Jerry Lynn. You know how we've got like the patron saints of this show? It's Scott Steiner, it's Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
We've also got the poor underdogs, which is Jerry Lynn.
Yeah. Although, he'll be on this episode.
He will, yeah.
Benoit and Jericho had the push stopped because somehow, as funny as this sounds, they got the blame for the bad ratings during the 2 weeks that they were pushed.
So there were bad ratings leading into King of the Ring?
Yes. And they were blamed on Benoit and Jericho. Not Austin being a heel. It's or a lack of The Rock and a lack of Triple H. It was Benoit and Jericho's fault. Jericho actually does talk about this in his second book, which I'm currently reading, and I can tell you it is dreadful.
What, the book?
It is.
I like the second. I really like the first 2.
Lion's Tale is a really good book.
Yeah.
This is horribly written, and it is so uninteresting because he'll tell you something that's quite interesting about like wrestling, and then we'll spend the next 3 chapters being like, and here's when I met Gene Simmons from Kiss, and here's when I hung out with David Lee Roth, and here's what Fozzy did. I was like, I don't care. Skip to the end.
I personally, I haven't read them in ages, but I remember loving them. I really like Jericho's writing style. I think he's a very good writer.
I go back and reread the second one, because I think you will question why you thought that.
Okay.
During his talk about this period of the invasion, he talks about a dream he had about him versus the Loch Ness Monster in a wrestling match, and about how he wanted to like stage that wrestling match, and taking it to Vince and saying like, I think we should do this as an idea. And I'm like, what? What did you think about Buff Bagwell? Just like, tell me what I need to know here.
Oh, so the publisher wants the book to be 300 pages. I've only written 160.
Yeah, I need to pan this out of it.
The trick is, folks, just have 160 pages. It's called Irrational. You can buy it from all bookstores. Well, actually, no, very few bookstores, but the Amazon. I will say, just to put Luke over, he has been doing so much research.
I'm well into
Every couple of days, a new autobiography or biography or history book arrives in the office with, I'm like, I didn't know Devon wrote a book, or, it'd be like, an Attitude Era guy.
Yeah, and I'm basically just going there, just flicking through, looking for the words WCW, and I'm like, great, I'm at the bit I want to read about.
You often go, damn, there's no index.
If there's no index, that's why I don't get the audiobook. I want the index. The first WCW matches on a WWF show took place on July 1st in Spokane, WA. That might be.
Washington. I think so.
Oh, that would make sense, wouldn't it? They're in Washington.
West Wyoming. So that's the day before this episode of Raw we're about to cover.
On the show, Shane Helms beat Chavo Guerrero Jr. to retain the Cruiserweight title, and Booker T beat Buff Bagwell to retain the WCW title.
Oh, so they had a chance to practice.
The Cruiserweight match went on fourth, and it was clear that nobody in the building cared about either guy. There were even some boring chants. Booker T got a huge babyface reaction coming out the crowd to get into his match with Bagwell. Since Rock uses the Uranagi, Book's new finisher is the Axe Kick. It's too bad, but nobody seemed to be surprised about that one. They worked 8th on a 10-match card. Main event saw Chris Jericho beat William Regal. Steve Austin missed the show due to injury, and he wasn't scheduled to work the TV this week. Kurt Angle was there and interfered in the main event. Jericho put him in the Lion Tamer afterwards. Also, although Booker T got cheered as a babyface, the crowd booed the name WCW like crazy.
Interesting. Do they say how good the match was at all?
We'll get onto that in a little bit.
Okay. Austin wasn't scheduled for TV. He's very much all over this episode of Raw.
To wrestle on TV.
Oh, I see.
Because he is hurt.
Right.
He is hurt, and so is Angle, which we'll get into in a second. Van Dam is officially signed.
Cool.
He hasn't completed a full physical, so he couldn't get licensed for this week in Washington for the commission state, but that will likely be taken care of this week, and he may be on television within the next 2 weeks. Dreamer hasn't signed at press time, although he has been sent a contract and may have signed it before you read this.
So the ECW guys are starting to be hoovered up.
And we've also got, talking about these WCW big names. They haven't picked up Goldberg, haven't picked up Ric Flair, not picking up Kevin Nash, not picking up Hulk Hogan. They have signed David Flair.
Oh, thank God. Well, did they make a mistake? Oh, great, we've got Flair, and look how cheap he is.
He's way younger than I thought he was. Angle may work the house shows this weekend, but it is thought he'll be ready to wrestle TV next week. His CAT scan taken was negative, so his head is clear and his tailbone is healing. Although, if Angle didn't have enough woes this last week, a further examination revealed a meniscus ligament tear. He is going to work through it, but at some point he will have to undergo arthroscopic surgery.
That's some long words, which I'll nod to. So is this Kurt, of course, at King of the Ring 8 days previously, wrestled 3 times in one night. So the semis and the finals of the King of the Ring tournament and against Shane McMahon. Was he injured going in there, or was the injury sustained?
He's working hurt is basically what's going on with Kurt at the moment.
That's sort of the tagline of the Attitude Era. Working hurt.
Well, Jericho does talk about in his second book, I only know this because I was reading it just before we came in here, that during this period of time, which we'll get to in a little bit, which Jericho has misremembered because he thinks he turns heel at Survivor Series. He doesn't. He turns heel before that. But he works a couple of the shows hurt with like an injured ankle. But that impresses Vince McMahon, and that actually helps him get pushed more because he's told by Jerry Briscoe and Jim Ross, a lot of people don't want you to succeed. A lot of people here want you to fail, so you need to show them that you can make this work.
Oh, it's just... we all know it, that WWF at this time, and there's parts of it to this day, if you're not a WWF guy that the management have decided they want you specifically to get over, people will actively damage you.
Yeah.
So even if you're a homegrown WWF guy, people might still be out to get you, and it's just that's one of the main reasons they're not creating these. I mean, there's so much wrong with this period, isn't there?
There's a couple of things I just sort of like tried to pick out when I'm going through the Observers, because there's names that you sort of like you don't expect to hear. Dusty Rhodes and Larry Zbyszko headlined the Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling show in Carrollton, Georgia, before 400 fans. It started as a Zbyszko stall, but eventually became a tag match with Luther Briggs with Zbyszko and New Jack with Dusty going over. Cody Runnels, Dusty's youngest son, made his debut as a referee.
Wow. So this is 01. How old would Cody be? 16?
Probably about that, because I think he's the same age as me. I think he's born 85.
I think he's 40, yeah. So 16-year-old Cody Runnels.
Yeah, possibly 15, depending on when his birthday actually is. This is from the Figure 4. Tickets for the September 3rd TV taping in Toronto, this is for WWF, sold out incredibly fast, in as less than an hour. The ticket people said it was going to be a WCW show, but the WWF didn't have time to change the text on the ticket. That's probably a good thing, because there was almost a riot to get tickets in the first place, and if people rioted and ended up with tickets that said WCW Nitro, there might have been serious consequences. As it turned out, the crowd was so unruly, cops reportedly had to use pepper spray.
Sorry, this was for what date?
September 3rd in Toronto. It's out, so they had taken that, like, they bought tickets. It's for WWF, but it will be changed to a WCW show, because that is the plan to change these.
Oh, but they went on sale around this time.
Yeah, but they were so excited. Like, apparently they had to use pepper spray because fans are so unruly.
But that says to me, live event ticket sales are usually the canary in the coal mine. If they're going up, that means business TV ratings will likely follow. If they're going down, all TV ratings will probably go down in a month or two's time. So that says that there's a lot of interest and excitement about the product that week.
Ratings are going down. Tickets are still there. So ticket sales are there, but the ratings, the TV ratings are on its way down.
So maybe,
merchandise will drop off this year as well.
That's the effects of the peak of X7, Austin turning heel, WCW out, and then not really much creative coming out of Mania. Yeah. But maybe now the WCW invasion's happening, that's where the hardcores are like, no, I've got to get my ticket for September right now.
Linda does say that in the conference call. She said that the invasion storyline has seen a pick back up in ratings. So I think, yeah, you're right. I think there is then some kickback to that in the live events of like, I want to go there because I want to see this. Well,
it's just a shame that SmackDown's tape, though, isn't it?
I mean, if only it was live, we could avoid this sort of thing. MCW TV this week aired a bunch of stuff from last month. Spanky beat American Dragon.
This is Brian Kendrick and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, both guys were just cut from their WWF developmental deals.
Yeah.
So this is from The Observer. The locker room dynamics have changed greatly over the past week. There is a resentment of the WWF guys because the WCW guys have been getting paid since the end of March, even though they're only just starting to get on the road this week. There is a feeling that some of the WCW guys, read that, the inexperienced guys who never worked any territories and learned wrestling in that horrible WCW atmosphere, walk around the locker room really cocky. The biggest heat was on Booker, Stacy Keibler, Buff Bagwell, Palumbo, and O'Hare. The word is that all of the younger members of that quintet have zero knowledge as to locker room protocol, etiquette, and how to conduct themselves. From a management standpoint, there seems to be knowledge that most of these guys are simply inexperienced, and the only one that seems to have significant heat is Bagwell, who has made a lot of enemies with his attitude even before such an inauspicious television debut. About 24 of the WCW guys were brought to Connecticut all week to train in the larger WWF rings to get the rust off before appearing live on television. Bagwell was late for every session, then arrived late for the house show in Spokane. While in WCW, there was almost zero discipline, he could get away with it. That doesn't fly here. During the week, while Shane Helms was training, the two got into an altercation. The story were reported as Bagwell, who along with Luger while in WCW, used to laugh at the cruiserweights behind their back and joke that they were the problem with the company. Bagwell went up telling Helms that no matter what he did, he'll never make it in wrestling because he's too small. Helms came back saying that he's with the obvious steroid retort. Bagwell slapped him. Helms came back and hit Bagwell with something filled with ice and busted him up, requiring stitches before it was quelled. In the Madison Square Garden beating of Palumbo and O'Hare, a little extra was put into it by some of the guys as a lesson. There was also the obvious heat with Booker, both because of the feeling he didn't protect Austin in the pay-per-view spot, but also because he didn't stay in gorilla position afterwards to check on Austin. Which is, in fairness, Booker ran through the crowd.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things, maybe, there is some kind of attitude issue there with Bagwell, turning up late to your first booking for a new company. That is not like, you wouldn't do that in any job if you're smart and want to succeed. But then the other stuff, it seems like maybe it wasn't intentional, but because there's a lot of charged feelings towards the WCW guys, people are interpreting that as bad attitudes.
Yeah. For the sake of balance, in Bob Holly's Hardcore Truth, he says that there was only really heat on Bagwell, which we'll go into a little bit later on. I'll read you the quotes from there. He actually said that Booker T was really respectful when he came in, shook everyone's hand, and was very approachable and very respectful of everyone. Okay.
The Palumbo and O'Hare thing. So that's on Thursday's SmackDown.
I got a quote about that later on because there's a recap of it. And Bob Holly's got a write-up about that. So we'll go into what happened there. But there is some truth to what Dave had written. This is from The Death of WCW about this episode. Many question the decision to even allow Bagwell into the company, let alone put him in such a high-profile match. He was anything but a model employee in WCW prior to the buyout, often crying like a little baby when asked to do a job. His attitude only worsened when he was informed that he was getting that title shot. He became pompous and aloof, failing to show up for the required workouts. In short, his hiring did little to appease the boys in either WWF or the new WCW. I think it's Alvarez Meltzer writes, it might come up later. He is basically the one guy that neither camp likes.
Well, I get he is kind of in that, Bagwell was in with that NWO crowd, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you look at all the guys who have now moved across. It's the non-NWO crowd. It's the new guys like Booker T or underused guys like Mike Awesome and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Well, Ray's not coming across because they don't like him. That little prick.
No one does.
Little arrogant prick. No one likes him.
Yeah, so Bagwell is that Venn diagram where both WWF and WCW agree.
Yeah.
His attitude, I have met Buff Bagwell. I worked with Buff Bagwell on a WrestleTalk TV show shoot way back when. I found him very nice. Very humble, everything. I couldn't say enough good things. He was there on time. He was a pleasure to work with. So maybe he had quite a humbling decade afterwards and he learned from that.
I think he had a lot of bad people in his ear. Bear in mind, before this, he's tagging with Lex Luger. And the pair of them were walking out of Nitro tapings, complaining when they had to lose belts and stuff. They were the tail end of WCW's run in 2001. They are so unprofessional. Every week you read the Observer, the Bagwell and Luger are a problem backstage. But as Dave was writing earlier, if you were a problem backstage in WCW, there was no discipline to that.
Yeah.
You never got any disciplinary action. If anything, you would be rewarded if you were bad. Scott Steiner went out and cut a shoot promo on Diamond Dallas Page off script, and he retained the title because he was rewarded. Diamond Dallas Page and Kevin Nash stormed out of the building on that day. Scott Steiner was just rewarded for sticking around. Mark Madden is fired in January 2001, reportedly because you're not allowed to say Scott Hall's name on TV. Scott Hall's not here anymore. Stop saying his name on TV. He's going to ECW. Stop saying his name on TV. And so Mark Madden was like, all right, sorry I said his name. I won't. 3 weeks go by, then he's fired. In those 3 weeks, Kevin Nash, DDP, a bunch of other guys are on TV saying Scott Hall's name and are never reprimanded for it, but they had to fire someone, so they fired Mark Madden.
Yeah.
It's the way that the company was. This is back to the death of WCW. In an interesting historic twist, there was actually a debate in the WWF production meeting that afternoon about whether the match should be Booker versus Bagwell or Booker versus Lance Storm.
Oh. Well, it would be a better match, but Lance, bless him, he doesn't have the charisma.
So it's funny you should say that because this is a direct quote from the book. Without question, Storm vs. Booker would have been a better match. Literally what you just said. As the two had been working together at house shows frequently and getting good reviews. As it turned out, Booker and Bagwell had also been doing house show matches and had gotten terrible reviews. That's not entirely accurate. So I went back and I went through Cage Match to see what the house show circuit was at that time. There has only been that one house show match between Booker and Bagwell, which was the night before this, which apparently didn't get great reviews. The Booker-Lance Storm house show matches happen after this taping. But Booker and Lance Storm had been feuding in WCW leading up to it, because Jericho says in his book it would have been a better match. They'd already been working together and feuding together. They already knew how to work together. At the end of the day, the decision was to go with Bagwell because he was, quote, the more identifiable name with WCW, so he got the match. The match itself was a disaster of biblical proportions. Despite announcer Arn Anderson's claim this was bigger than the moon landing, Bagwell and Booker tipped through a very mundane match and proceeded to blow spot after spot. The crowd, those who hadn't filed out that is, entertained themselves with competing chants of boring, this match sucks, and Goldberg. In fact, the only time the crowd seemed to enjoy themselves was when Steve Austin and Kurt Angle, the WWF's two lead heels, came into the ring and beat the crap out of both men. In the midst of this, the biggest event since the moon landing, remember, the cameras cut backstage to Vince McMahon making out with WCW's Tori Wilson. This led to Raw's finale, a scene in which Vince, wearing only his boxers, was caught by his wife Linda with his hand in the nookie jar. Many labelled it the worst WWF show of all time.
Did they really?
Apparently so.
Well, we'll get on to it.
I read Dave's report. Dave said it's not a great show.
In the play-by-play, when we cover it in a bit, it's like they never... Even though it's got the main event, the different presentation, yeah, it's the match, but it's not the focus. It could be a bad match, good match, whatever. The focus is Kurt and Steve and a separate storyline going on with Vince and Tori and Linda.
Keep coming back to them. That's the story of this show.
When do you ever cut away from a match to a backstage segment that has nothing to do with the match?
I know.
Surely you might cut backstage and go, oh, so-and-so's friend has been beat. Oh, no, there's a locker room door that's been jammed. They can't help. A limo's arriving because someone might interfere. This is distinctly separate.
Yeah. If you genuinely wanted this to work and you wanted to promote this, you'd have had interviews with Booker. You'd have had interviews with Bagwell. You own the tape library. You'd have put together a video package to show what Booker is all about, what Buff Bagwell is all about. Instead, they just throw these two guys out there and basically tell them to fail.
Yeah, I think there are other ways they could have done it, but we'll do that when we get to because it's very. I feel like we need to take you on the journey, dear viewers and listeners, to see what WWF's product was like at the time and how jarring suddenly putting a wrestling match at the end was.
So the book then explains that the original idea of the brand split, which we talked about earlier, Raw becomes WCW, SmackDown becomes WWF. Tacoma killed that idea. Vince took one look at the crowd reaction and decided there was no way WCW could survive as its own entity. Would the proposed Tacoma alternative main event of Lance Storm versus Booker T have changed history? Storm himself strongly doubts that. Quote, the match...
He doesn't lie. He doesn't lie.
Quote, the match would have been better, but it wouldn't have changed anything in the big scheme, The commentary was bad, the presentation was bad, and a lot of the booking later on was bad. It wasn't changing anything. It would have been a better match, but that would have been the only difference.
Well done, Lance Storm. That's why he is one of the good ones, because another wrestler might have gone, I could have made it work.
But if only they'd given me the reins.
So Vince's lesson there was, no one wants WCW, it's crap. And it's like, no, Vince. Your version of WCW is crap.
No, you're crap.
you're bad at booking, and you don't care.
Meltzer wrote of the show, if there's any lesson that should be learned from the XFL, is you never get a chance to make a first impression. The first impression of WCW in the most important angle in the history of the business in Tacoma, Washington was downright scary, to the point reevaluation of the current plans have to be considered. The live crowd totally rejected the Booker T versus Buff Bagwell match put on at the Raw main event. One can blame Bagwell for putting on a bad performance and T for not rising to the occasion, but the crowd had already decided to hate it long before the bell rang to start the match. Loud chants of boring, this match sucks, and Goldberg filled the Tacoma Dome as the crowd booed every move by both wrestlers. Fights broke out in the stands, and a large percentage of the crowd was streaming towards the exit while the main event was going on.
Sorry, did you just say fights broke out in the stands?
Yeah, we're looking to do something else.
But But that's not usually what people do when they're slightly Look,
They did in 2001. You don't have phones to put your torches on and bounce them around.
Mexican waves exist. Look, that is not a long match. It's 10 minutes long.
It's not even 10 minutes.
What?
I think it goes 5.
Within 3 minutes, people are like, I guess we should start physically assaulting each other.
Should we just fight?
What do you think it's some people going like, hey, give it a chance? Do you think it's like that?
No, I think it's drunk dudes in 2001 being like, Twitter doesn't exist yet. Shall we fight each other?
Diggs. I can't believe that just spontaneously, like NPCs in a video game, people start brawling in the crowd. And it surely, because you've been to wrestling shows. It's really annoying if people are disrespecting the wrestlers in the ring. Yeah. And I've been like, hey, give it a rest, like that. So maybe there were some WCW fans there. Hey, mate, don't pay some respect. Well, what did you say, mate? That could be a fight.
You're talking about British wrestling fans. I think there are just drunk Americans after a while. Maybe they're trying to get into a fight.
They just start fisticuffing.
It's 2001, man.
They're not cats.
I like your idea better.
Yeah.
Chance then started a refund and end this match.
Refund? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's been bugging me. I couldn't figure it out.
I know. As soon as I was reading this, I was like, that's what they were chanting.
It is a bit WrestleMania 20, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're trying to picture what an audience reaction is, it's they've just already decided and they're chanting these things.
The only positive pop coming would what normally be a groan spot when Austin and Angle did a run-in to end the main event in only 5 minutes.
No way was it 5 minutes.
Yeah, this match is only 5 minutes long.
Oof.
Fans booed Shane McMahon when he came out with new lighting and the new look for WCW when it takes over the Raw time slot. If plans continue as they are and nothing has changed at press time, it is no doubt something that will be talked about a lot later in the week. The match with Booker T defending his WCW title, but also still being billed as the US champion, was poor. Announcers Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson trying their best to act like their co-worker was a turncoat for the organization tonight because Bagwell joins in the beatdown of him. But it just came across as way too forced. Even though Austin and Angles were heels the entire show, they got the biggest face reactions as they beat on Booker 3-on-1 and threw him out of the building. They got a second face reaction when they turned on Bagwell, laid him out and threw him out of the building as well. This program, as well as being booked ass backwards as WCW, the Invaders, have gotten their asses kicked at almost every turn.
But there's a part, because that is the ending. Austin and Kurt literally throw Booker and Buff out of the building in what is meant to be a WCW end to this show. And there was a bit of me that thought, when I was watching it, I didn't believe it, but I thought, this feels like an audible has been called to just find a new way to end this failing match rather than just proceed with it to the end.
I have heard before some people say that it isn't audible. I can't find any writing of that, but I have heard previously that it isn't audible.
Or are they just bad at booking? And this is what they always planned. More likely that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the WCW guys haven't stood tall a lot. I'd say that there's been even 2 occasions when...
Mike Awesome.
3 occasions there. When Mike Awesome wins the hardcore title, when which is now he's going to face Rhino, which we'll find out later on in this show at Invasion. it never happened. So you got Mike Awesome standing tall, Booker laying out Vince, and Booker laying out Steve Austin. Although Steve Austin still wins, so it's not like he laid him out, he just put him through a table.
And DDP.
When?
Against Sarah.
We'll get to that. While it could be argued that WCW has that "we don't want to see you" heat as opposed to the kind of heat where people are booing and it means they are over as heels and thus this has no prayer, there is a lot of wrestling precedent that says it may not be a dead issue yet. Clearly a lot more thought needs to be put into this storyline because fans who have been conditioned to see WCW as the real enemy is the only real thing about a fake wrestling world are not ready to embrace the idea of WCW Raw, particularly since it's only a few weeks away from its scheduled start. I'm going to go into a really fascinating thing here because I did not know this about the announcing team for this show. Even though WWF have had since late March to get this thing going, it had all the feel of what it was, something thrown together at the last minute. The announcing situation epitomized the problems. Due to Kevin Dunn's wife giving birth and this being one of his duties, all of a sudden the time came and no final decisions had been made.
Oh, it was Dunn's just sort of family situation meant he hadn't paid enough attention to it.
And so we don't know what the announcing team for this show is going to be yet.
And the announcing team is Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson on commentary. And they're a bit naff. but not as bad as Stacy Keibler as the ring announcer.
Hudson...
Bagwell!
Hudson, at least, he was a WCW commentator towards the end. Arn Anderson mumbling his way through commentary. This was bigger than the moon landing.
You'd think, one of the greatest promo guys ever doesn't translate into a good colour play commentator.
Hudson had talked with Jim Ross a few months back when he came to Atlanta, and Ross gave him the impression he would be strongly considered for the announcing job. This is when they were under the impression that WCW would have been on Saturday nights in the late time slot on TNN. When that fell through, nobody called him back. Hudson wrote Ross a few weeks ago, noting that he had until the 15th of June to make a decision on whether or not to go back full-time with his government job or to continue to work part-time. At his work, he'd been switched to a part-time because of all the time he'd spent out of the office working for WCW. Ross did get back to Hudson before the deadline, telling him that in the short term, there was nothing that appeared to be on the horizon for him, which is likely because Joey Styles was the prime candidate for the WCW job.
Interesting.
Which we kind of alluded to before. That's what they're looking at, is Joey being the lead commentator. Hudson then informed his work he was going back full-time. Then, with the plans to introduce WCW announcing crew at the show in Tacoma and the Styles deal having fallen through over the two sides being apart on money, Hudson was given a call to come to Connecticut for a week to train and be the lead voice for WCW. Hudson got there, but surprised the WWF by telling them he's gone back to work full-time and he can't take the job, but would be willing to help them out since they were in something of a jam, and agreed to take the spot for a few weeks to get the angle going.
That's good. That's a good thing of him. It wasn't like, he didn't make the stupid decision of going, I'll quit my job then. Mm-hmm. But he didn't burn that bridge either.
So, Scott, it was meant to be Joey Styles on lead commentator. Arn was not the original guy they wanted for color commentary. Hudson's partner was scheduled to be Jerry Lawler,
who would be making a return.
Making his return to the company.
Because it's so crazy, because you've got Bobby Heenan, just one of the greatest colour guys, never buried Vince, but people say that's why
he never
Vince
came back.
never brought him back.
Yeah, he was there for X7 because he does the commentary for the Gimmick Battle Royal. But yeah, the word as you just said then, because he never buried Vince. He always said no. Bischoff wanted him to bury Vince on every show, and everyone else did. Heenan said no. But because he was too nice, Vince was like, I don't need him.
Yeah, well, too nice, and also Vince, there's no reason for Vince to bring you back to then bully you.
If you're mean about Vince, he wants to bring you back so he can humiliate you, essentially.
So I guess it's kind of good that Bobby Heenan did
But also in a way, because, and we'll get into this a bit later on, because Holly talks about this, he actually gets so angry that some of these guys get brought back, even after everything they said, while he, who's been loyal, never gets a chance. We'll get into that a little bit later. So, supposed to be Jerry Lawler. Lawler had been called by WWF offices several days before Hudson was called and asked to start working in Tacoma, which he agreed to do in what was to be a secret arrival in an angle booked by the creative team. When the word got out, Lawler denied having ever talked with anyone on that he would come back because WWF, like with Diamond Dallas Page, wanted the introduction to be a surprise on Raw. Nobody from WWF denied the story or would publicly confirm it. According to Lawler, as well as other WWF sources, the final deal was agreed on the 28th of June. Exactly what happened from there is more questionable. According to Lawler, he was supposed to be introduced with Hudson by Shane on Raw as the new WCW announcing team, and his wife, Stacey Carter, would accompany him to ringside. So to take a couple of steps back, the reason why Lawler was fired in February of 2001, or rather he walks in February of 2001, is because his wife, Stacey Carter, the cat, was being let go. So he said, if she's going, I'm going. And Vince said, all right, then see you later.
Which is why we've got JR and Heyman all through X7.
Lawler said he told the next day that Vince McMahon wanted to make it clear there was no role for Carter other than appearing on Raw and SmackDown with Lawler at both shows in Tacoma, which Lawler agreed to. This would have resulted in both missing their scheduled booking for a Memphis show. After both received travel itinerary, Lawler was called again by WWF officials and was told he would not be getting a contract, and he would not be getting a contract, and she wouldn't. At that point, Lawler backed out of the deal. Within the WWF, the heat was put on Lawler for the deal falling apart, claiming he was the one who tried to change the agreed-upon deal to force them into giving Carter a contract, and that's when negotiations fell apart. There was already heat internally on giving Lawler the face-saving concession of allowing Carter to reappear on Raw and SmackDown. With literally nowhere else to turn, the decision was made to go with Arn Anderson, who had virtually no experience calling matches, but was known in wrestling as being one of the greatest talkers of all time.
With literally nowhere else to go, Luke. No, there was no one possible. We couldn't give Joey Styles some more money. We couldn't go and talk to Bobby Heenan. Ridiculous. They just work themselves into these shoots where there's no other option. But there is.
We had to screw Bret Hart.
They can spend more money to get the top guys in WCW. No, there's nothing we could have done. You could have booked a better main event to promote WCW on its launch. No, we couldn't have done it. With the Lawler stuff, though, there's part of me I think the stronger part of me is like, well, that doesn't feel like WCW. That's just a WWF making a new show. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit lame. I would have preferred Bobby Heenan. But also, there is an inbuilt story there. If this WCW brand is becoming the anti-Vince because it's Shane McMahon, Jerry Lawler does make a lot of kayfabe sense.
You've hit the nail on the head. That's the creative plan.
Yeah.
That's why he's the WCW color commentator. He hates Vince. Vince fired him in February, so now he's jumped ship to the competition.
I actually think that's probably that would have given some much needed story through line, apart from just invasion, to this final match.
I would say, though, much like the idea of it being Lance Storm in the main event, I don't think it would have made a difference. No. Like it still, the crowd still would have turned on this. Although they would have popped because Jerry's back, and I think there would have been a reaction to Joey Styles being the announcing team. Because like Stacey Keibler brings out Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson, and it's like, all right. If Stacey Keibler brought out ECW's Joey Styles and a returning Jerry Lawler.
And Buffer to do the ring intros. No, but I'm serious. Like they would get him in for the big WCW event.
Sorry, I think you said Buff do the ring intros. You put Lance on the main event and do Buff do the ring announcing.
No, Michael Buffer, the famed boxing intro. Let's get ready to rumble.
Sorry, now that you said yes, that way. Or Dave Penzer.
Yeah, because then it feels like a big deal. Oh my God, Joey Styles, Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
Michael Buffer doing the ring intros. Shane McMahon's there. He's the commissioner.
Yeah.
Sure, I don't know who Buff Bagwell is, but Booker T, I've seen him take out Austin a few times recently. Maybe that would have primed the audience, but it doesn't. It just feels like a very half-hearted effort.
Whether it was following Jim Ross or Paul Heyman or having to call the match, which wasn't good in the ring, and being totally rejected by the live crowd, or whatever it was, Hudson and Anderson did not come off well. Hudson was generally praised for his backstage demeanor, with people saying of the WCW crew that Hudson was the only one who had enthusiasm when they were looking to be in the clutch. Several names were under consideration, including Mike Tenay for the spot, also a voice of WCW.
I respect Mike Tenay. I don't think he would have been good in that position.
WWF also hired Nick Patrick, who debuted as WCW ref on Raw, alongside Charles Robinson, who's still there to this day.
I mean, is he the main success story? Is he the alpha of integration into a new company?
Tim and Booker, probably. I know Booker goes for a little bit.
Booker left.
I suppose Booker does go.
It's all Little Nate.
It's all Little Nate. And Billy Silverman to serve in similar roles. Besides
Billy another
referee,
ref.
Yeah. He's one of those ones. Did we see the recap of that on this show where the referees are arguing with each other?
I don't think so.
Put your stinking shirts on your side of the room. Besides the talent who'd already debuted on WWF TV, DDP, Booker T, Bagwell, Stacey Keibler, Tori Wilson, Palumbo O'Hare, Lance Storm, Hugh Morris, and Mike Awesome, also backstage in Tacoma included Chavo Guerrero Jr., Shane Helm, Sean Stasiak, Mark Jindrak, Chris Kanyon, and Billy Kidman, all of whom were brought through Connecticut during the week 2 train.
Absolute undercarders, every single one of them. Although when Stacey came out, I did go, "Where's Stasiak?" Last time I saw you, you were a couple.
Last couple of notes here. The morale of the former WCW wrestlers plummeted following the terrible reaction to the Raw show on Monday. This is from Figure 4. After the show, some of the WCW wrestlers showed more concern about their future than they did during the dying days of the original WCW. At least when WCW was about to go under, they could look to greener pastures of the WWF as a possible future home. Now, with the WCW angle in the WWF looking to be an early bust, they realize there's nowhere else to go if their services are suddenly found to be unnecessary. One of them described it as being walking on eggshells backstage for a WCW guy, because the WWF guys don't want you there and they all hate you. They feel that you constantly have to be looking over your shoulders. Even wrestlers who kept to themselves and were never known to be politicers feel that there is heat on them from the WWF side. Although everyone else has been told they can dress wherever they want to, a few WCW guys noticed that they were hanging out and eating together as if they were part of a clique, and vowed to avoid that in the future as to not give an impression of being elitist. There is a school of thought that perhaps Vince McMahon is doing his best to fuel real-life flames to make for more compelling on-screen heat. It certainly wouldn't be the first time. For example, years ago, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart used their real-life dislike for each other to heat up an excellent on-screen feud. Years later, Bret gave an interview that said that, looking back, he didn't really hate Shawn, but because he figured out that Vince was the guy in the background manipulating the two against each other. Mick Foley knows it in his book that the best way to cut a promo is to really believe what you're saying. It's method acting. The best way to cut a promo on someone is to really hate that person. The tension backstage on SmackDown last week resulted in the WWF B team giving Sean O'Haire and Chuck Palumbo a terrific beating on television. The tension was such that the WWF guys continued to beat the hell out of them after the cameras were turned off. Palumbo and O'Haire didn't complain, but the entire WCW crew was sent a message. At Raw, Vince gave out WCW shirts to all of the WCW guys, the one that I am sporting right now. Of course, in real life, there are no WCW guys. Everyone's under WWF contract. Booker T, Buff Bagwell, Lance Storm, and the others are as much WCW guys as Steven Richards is a member of a wacky right-wing group. It's an angle. So why would Vince hand out WCW shirts to everyone who used to work for WCW? Most of the guys were afraid to wear them, seeing it as more of a bullseye on them than anything else.
Wow.
And there was tremendous heat on Buff Bagwell. Bagwell is, I believe, the one guy that is seen as a prick to both guys in both WWF and WCW.
First main event.
It's almost funny because everyone with a brain saw this coming going in, but WWF signed him anyway. Vince has nobody to blame but himself.
Ain't that the truth?
That's it.
I will just push back on the definition of method acting there. I don't think the great method actors actually hate the people they're working with, but in the moment, they use a sort of, like they become the character and they hate them.
I will say, because we'll go into Bob Holly's book a little bit later on, I don't think it was Vince trying to like fuel real life flames.
Oh, do you not?
No, and like Hardcore Holly says pretty much as much in his book.
Oh, I that's such his MO though. Like
it's a very Vince thing to do.
Putting Raw against SmackDown, putting Stephanie against Shane.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to take that back because I think you might be right. Because I am just realizing that it is Hardcore Holly telling this story, and maybe he doesn't realize that he was being manipulated by Vince McMahon for the WWF side.
Yeah, everyone around Vince he pits against each other because in his hyper-competitive alpha law of the jungle mind, that creates the winners and the losers, and then he can just have the winners.
So that is where we're at. That is bringing everyone up to date on where the WCW experiment is. We'll find out where we're going to after this show, but as it currently stands, the plan is that Raw is going to become WCW Raw. SmackDown is going to be going live and will become WWF SmackDown on Thursday night. Split rosters, split production crews, split champions, following Invasion, and then next year, we're off to the races because WCW's got its first pay-per-view in October. We're going to be running WCW house shows. Going to have loads more fans in attendance, loads more revenue, and everything will be great when we do the second Invasion show in a year's time.
You know what? On paper, I think that's a pretty great plan.
Me too. Let's hope this Tacoma crowd are really on board with this WCW main event.
Well, let's hope the creative is good enough to get the crowd on board.
So yeah, we get a recap of the previous week's Raw, the one from Madison Square Garden, where they set up the idea that WCW are going to be able to have matches on Raw and on SmackDown. Are you afraid, Vince? Are you afraid of a little competition, Vince?
Yeah, this is Linda's expert acting that has not moved a budge since she was playing a catatonic person in the build to X7. So it was Linda confronting Vince. You know, she's like, we've got a pay-per-view scheduled for the end of this month of July. How about let's make it WCW versus WWF?
Yeah. The invasion. Previously, as was on King of the Ring, we noted, fully loaded. Advertised on King of the Ring as fully loaded. Then 1 week later was changed to it being the invasion.
In this sort of video package, the WCW logo just keeps going boom, you know, in that sort of
Bray Wyatt.
early noughties editing style. It's like they're trying to subliminally message it into my brain.
Yeah.
Good, you know, recap of Booker T clocking Austin with the World Heavyweight title. Midcarder's chasing him out of the arena. And then, so in that promo, it's Vince who goes, well, it should be called Invasion.
Yeah.
I don't know if he should be the one calling it Invasion. I think he should be like saying, like, you know, just war or something like that. Linda, the WCW side should be saying, this is an invasion.
Should be Shane.
Yeah, it should be Shane.
Shane making the call is like, this is our invasion onto your territory. We invaded Madison Square Garden. We're invading Monday Night Raw. It's called Invasion.
Yeah.
Our show opened with JR telling us we are 3 weeks away from said pay-per-view. And let me tell you, a lot is going to change in those 3 weeks. We're over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. The next episode is literally next week's Raw and everything has changed.
I feel like a lot of this series has just been us going, and this, remember, this was the plan a second ago. Vince opens the show and he gets booed. Oh, sorry, of course we're in Tacoma, Washington, loads of pyro. We looked at this together. The amount of signs in the crowd.
I was watching the SmackDown that follows on from this, which has 2 WCW matches on it. It's got Shane Helms versus Billy Kidman for the Cruiserweight Championship, which is where Billy Kidman wins the Cruiserweight title. And the main event of that show is Booker T versus DDP for the WCW Championship.
Great. Is it good?
It's all right. It ends in a schmoz. Again, it's got Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson on commentary. But yeah, these signs in Tacoma, Washington, it's a sea of signs.
Well, we were talking about it, and we were like, I think it's because dudes didn't have internet memes back then. So the way you would share a funny joke or to call someone gay is to just hold up a sign on Raw.
But oftentimes, it's just people like Austin. It's just, a sign that says Austin, a sign that says Undertaker. People were just way more into taking signs to wrestling shows.
Yeah. And JR, of course, welcomes our friends in WWF New York.
Yeah, he does.
It's still a thing.
Yep.
And it looks like it's packed. This isn't a pay-per-view.
Well, it always was on a Monday.
Yeah.
It was packed on one Sunday a month, every Monday and every Thursday, and then it was empty for the rest of the week because the dickheads refused to show any other sports.
And every wrestler who's sent there, as we see again later on this show, hates their life.
Why is it? They do this every week. They send like Billy Gunn there or Taz there and Hardcore to be like, I hate being here in WWF New York.
I want to be in the actual show.
Yeah, this place
surrounded
sucks.
by like fans. I guess I'm a chump then.
Yeah,
I'm a chump for
these
coming
idiots.
here.
Yes, WWF, if you didn't know, used to have a sports bar that didn't show sports in Times Square. A really expensive place to have a venue.
I just don't get how this company lost money.
It'll be there for another couple of years. It gets rebranded to a nightclub in late 2002, I think. Anyway, Vince tells us that part of the WWF section of Raw, we're going to be getting Albert versus The Undertaker. And the crowd boo him and call him an asshole. And he's like, please, be respectful.
So he's a heel character.
Yes.
It's so weird how the dynamics of heel and face character and brands are set up here. You could make an argument that's a very sophisticated George R.R. Martin approach where everyone's different and they just don't follow the brand or like their family's morality. Mm-hmm. Or you could say it's messy because Vince is a heel.
Yeah, he's well
Austin and Kurt are heels. They're representing the babyface WWF.
Yeah.
Booker's a babyface. WCW is a heel.
No, WCW
It's
is
also a
face.
face.
That's a face because Shane's a face.
So WWF becomes a heel, but
Yeah.
it's just, it is all over the place.
It is a little bit, which is why then the crowd is going to boo WCW.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact as well, they have been told for years on end that this company sucks. I think it is mad that they tried to bring them in as the babyface team initially.
But I think you have to, otherwise it doesn't work. Or you just don't bring them in. You just relaunch WCW as a separate thing, and then you start running the.
I think it needed.
I do too.
I think it needed some mainstream exposure first.
They'd run themselves into the ground so deeply.
So quickly, I think, he tells us that July 22nd will be the best day in sports entertainment history, as it will be the day that WCW takes on, finally, the WWF. Those dream matches that we all talked about seeing won't happen on that show.
And he says it won't be an invasion, it'll be an annihilation.
Indeed.
Well, then why did you specifically call it invasion, Vince? Why don't... Call it annihilation.
He then gets a ton of heat for running down Washington's apples. Some of the biggest heat of the show. That's not Clark Bagwell. He brings up Booker T and compares him to Austin. He calls Booker a sneak. Austin as a champion of champions. And he promises, no, I guarantee. But before he can give that guarantee, Kurt Angle comes out. And this is where we find our new dynamic. So Austin as a heel was not working. He was this weird, in his own head, he was this psychotic heel. He was beating up women and teaming with Triple H, his sworn nemesis that only 2 years ago had organized to run him over. And he's there and he's so crazy. And he's just like, he covets the WWF championship. He needs this power.
And McMahon. He's in love with McMahon.
Well, I think this is the switch. Because that wasn't working. When Triple H gets hurt, that's when it switches to, I'm a comedy character. I'm a comedy heel. And I love Vince, and I need his hugs. I need to know that Vince is on my side because I've sold my soul to the devil. So I need to, at every turn, be around Vince McMahon to make sure that he's his comfort blanket. It's why at King of the Ring, Vince isn't there. Yeah. And Austin's calling him being like, Vince, where are you? I need to know you're here. Get your driver to come over. It's not that far.
This is the heel Steve I remember.
Yes.
I don't really think
it's way better than Two-Man Power Trip.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's because just I tend to... Comedy appeals to me more. It's like my sweet spot, so or my comfort zone myself. So I will prefer this. Some people like just serious. Yeah. I want Austin to be a killer. I think Austin is brilliant here. I think he's so funny. He's so threatening still. I think he doesn't sacrifice credibility.
Yeah, and now we're about to find his perfect dance partner for this. Because while Vince is very good at also doing the backstage comedy with Austin, he's about to find his perfect dance partner on screen. This is the introduction of Kurt Angle and Steve Austin being the duo together. They were kind of like, it was like last week, but here is where we're going fully in on, this is your comedy pairing. The SmackDown that follows this is the Cowboy Hat episode.
Oh, no way.
It's the Jimmy Crack Corn episode.
Really?
It's literally
That's iconic.
It's the SmackDown after this episode.
It's in Kurt's...
It's part of the fucking invasion.
It's the Kurt Hall of Fame acceptance speech he references that in. It's inspired. Look, I don't think most people would look at the roster at this time and with all the big things going on with the invasion and go, Kurt and Steve.
Yeah.
So, and it's weird because Vince, who is such a larger-than-life performer, he becomes the straight man.
Yeah. Do you know what? We can actually watch some clips of that SmackDown as well with
let's
Cowboy
do it.
Hats. Because Kurt Angle's reaction when he sees... Because the story is, Austin buys Vince a present. And it's a cowboy hat. Because Vince needs cheering up. It's a cowboy hat. So Austin's like, hey, I bought myself a... And he's bought himself the exact same cowboy hat. And Angle walks in and he says... You realize you're wearing the same hats.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I bought you a present as well. And it's a tiny cowboy hat. And Kurt's like, I feel like a real cowboy. Anyway, so it's not going to be an invasion. It's going to be an annihilation. Vince, he comes out and says, Vince, I found your words so moving and inspiring. Everyone,
this is Kurt here.
Kurt, yeah. Everyone needs a boss like you. Booker doesn't have any of my three eyes. And he throws to a video package of Booker attacking WWF guys. He's like, but look, Booker, because Kurt's subtly burying Austin here. He's like, Booker outsmarted Steve Austin last week, but not me. I was trying to warn you, but you wouldn't listen to me. And Booker left as Austin was glazing over as a teenage girl. Was glazed over as a teenage girl at a Ricky Martin concert. It's not a bad thing. I've been to Ricky Martin concerts. They're actually pretty good.
I've written down that line too. It's so funny. It's so of its time as well. Ricky Martin and teenage girls loving Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Obviously later homosexual Ricky Martin. But it's like Kurt makes him like he can't even. He's so uncool. He can't even slam someone else for being uncool.
Yeah, it's like, he's glazed over more than a teenage girl at a Ricky Martin concert. Not that that's a bad thing. I've actually been to those concerts. They're actually pretty good.
Like it's genius.
It's so funny.
Brilliant writing.
He says that Booker T left them looking like a jackass. And out comes Steve Austin. He's so awesome when he comes out, even though he's a comedy guy. And JR says, like, Angle's like, look, I'll make sure that Booker never attacks you again. And Austin's like, how are you going to do that? With my boot in your ass. The problem isn't Booker T, it's Kurt Angle. He says that Vince, me and you, we're a team. We don't need Kurt. We don't need him here. He's a jackass. Vince, call him a jackass. You tell him he's a jackass. And Kurt Angle often says, I'm not a jackass. I'm a hero.
Kurt is just this one-liner machine in the background. I'm just trying to find one of the more psychotic Steve expressions. Because then, they go in a bit of tit for tat, don't they?
Yeah, they shout over each other before Vince stops it.
Before they're going to have a match. So, like, Vince is like, we'll just sort it out in the ring then. And before they sort it out...
Actually, this is so good.
Kurt just goes to hug Vince and look at Steve's face because Steve hasn't thought to hug Vince first.
Yep.
And someone's hugging Vince. Like, I was thinking about this because at the time, I'm 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And Austin, I kind of missed a lot of Austin because he was injured in 2000 when I really first started watching. But then I get Austin back. I'm so excited because I'm told he's the best thing ever. And all of a sudden he's doing stuff like this. And I remember at the time being like, well, I loved Kurt Angle. I loved Goofy Kurt Angle. But I didn't want Steve to be like this. So I think at the time I was, in hindsight, I appreciate this so much.
I'm in the exact same camp as you. 2000's my big year. Sunday Night Heat's on Channel 4. That's like my big exposure to wrestling. And then I make a friend at school, Rory. Shout out to Rory if you're ever watching. And he's got all of these 98, 99 pay-per-views on video. So I'm going around to his house after school every day and I'm just devouring this because I just fell in love with wrestling. And I fell in love with Steve. And I was like, he was this cool badass. And then for 2000, it's waiting for Steve to come back. And then Steve comes back and it's so cool and it's so awesome. And you don't get it for very long because he then turns heel. And all the while I'm watching this, I'm like, I do miss that. I want that Steve back. Yeah. And we will be reviewing the episode where we do get that Steve back.
The old
Stone Cold. But this, with the benefit of hindsight, is hilarious. Like when Angle goes to hug Vince and Steve gives an action, and then Steve just hugs Vince as well and be like, no, I'm hugging him now.
Like the least interesting thing of the Attitude Era is the wrestling. Really. Yeah. This is fantastic live camp character skits.
Yeah, pretty much.
With some drama thrown in and occasionally they fight. And I think that's what that is, by the way, one of my main points of this episode. That's key to understanding what the audience wants to see.
Yeah.
They don't want to see a 5-minute match. That's too long.
That's way too long.
But
I think it's the longest match on this show. There's a line later on, because you get the Christian X-Pac match. Dave's like, best wrestling on the show. Best match up until this point. I was like, yeah, it's 3 minutes long. Shane comes out. He's like, what do we got here? An Olympic gold medalist and a WWF champion fighting for hugs? What is this, Sesame Street? Well, if it is Sesame Street, it is brought to you by the letter I. And that I stands for invasion. Shane's he's all right. But I find his promo delivery a little bit weird.
Yeah, but at the time, like, you've got these three all-time great promo guys in the ring, and Shane just has so much love towards him. Like, Shane was, Kurt Angle was my number one. Maybe Shane was number two because he was so rarely used. He was such a treat to see on screen. So I don't care if he's not the smoothest promo guy. I'm just like, he's there. He might jump off something soon. And this is 2 weeks after he was thrown through the glass.
Yeah.
No selling that, isn't he?
Well, Angle isn't really either, I guess.
Well, Angle wasn't the one concussed through the glass.
He says that WCW are the underdogs, but that's how I like it. So how about this, Dad? At Invasion, we have ourselves the inaugural brawl.
Yes, the inaugural brawl.
5 of my top guys versus 5 of your top guys. And that's the main event of Invasion. We've got our first match announced. The inaugural brawl.
The inaugural brawl. There's a joke on 30 Rock, which I love, where one of the actress characters gets a film role, but no one knows what it's called because it's the Raw Juror, right? And that's how she says it. And I was like, what's it called? And eventually they go to the screening. The Rural Juror. Juror in a court, and they're a suburban. They're in the countryside essentially.
Bob Loblaw.
And it becomes a long running skit throughout later series where there's Raw Juror 2, or there's like, but it's all the inaugural brawl. The inaugural brawl just gives me Raw Juror vibes. And also Shane, bless him, like you said, not the best promo. He calls it the first ever inaugural brawl.
Yeah.
You know what inaugural means? There was a gang, back when I was a kid, I was in a village called Hextable. And the bad kids, teenagers, were a gang called HMA, and they would spray paint HMA over the electric boxes and the post office. And it stood for Hextable Mafia Association. But mafia in Italian, it means association. So they were the Hextable Association. It's redundancy 101. Yeah. But when he says it, the crowd don't really pop.
No. They're not really. And when he says, tonight it's going to be Booker T versus Buff Bagwell for the WCW Championship, there's a mixed reaction to it. I think they would beg for a mixed reaction when they get to the actual main event slot.
But I think people don't quite understand what he's saying, because inaugural brawl, and there's like a space for it, but there's no pop.
But if you say 5 of my top guys versus 5, who are your top guys?
Yeah.
That's the problem. I think that's why there's no pop there. But if you'd have said, and I get you can't do it this way because of Time Warner contract. Time Warner's the biggest heel in all of this storyline. But if you'd be like, it's Hogan, Goldberg, Nash versus Austin. That all of a sudden then just feels like this huge big deal.
Because it is 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
You can just announce the majority of the names in it now.
It's probably a good job they didn't, because it's made up by a lot of the guys that will be turning next week. So he says that Raw will become WCW. Here's where this is the best thing in the world, everyone. This is why this segment absolutely rules, and this is why I'm really enjoying watching these 2001 shows. That was 15 minutes.
I wrote the exact same thing.
All of that, the video package recapping last week, the entrances for Shane, Kurt, Austin, Vince, and the announcement of a pay-per-view main event, the announcement of this week's show, the comedy with Vince and Angle, the starting of that, but all of that, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 4 separate promos, and it's 15 minutes.
And it's not like, they didn't give things enough time to breathe. No, these are jokes that are a minute long.
Yeah.
And you can pick up that joke later on, or that's an announcement that only really takes a minute to say. It's quite a nice, neat line. Well, you've got your 3 eyes, I've got one of my own. Invasion. That nowadays that would be a 2-3 minute bit rather than a 20-second line.
There'd be a 3-minute bit of just saying welcome to Monday Night Raw.
There'll be 2 minutes of people walking to set me up to see people walking again.
For them doing a 7-minute entrance.
Yeah. So I completely agree. And it really is that WWE has a pacing problem now.
Mm-hmm. Backstage, the APA are chatting, and Farouk talks about their show-long storyline, which is we have a mole in the WWF, because now that I think about it, how did Booker get into the building? And Bradshaw's like, yeah, how did they get in? Actually, now that I think about it, who let him out? Now that I think about it even further, how did Palumbo and O'Hare get in? Bradshaw's like, you know what we should do? We should go mole hunting.
Fantastic. APA are cool. This is a show-long storyline.
Maybe 25 seconds, this backstage segment.
Yeah. A weeks-long storyline this can become of them trying to find the mole. It's a mystery angle. So you've got, right out the gate, you've got not just a very succinct, effective opening segment that sets up 100 things. Throughout this episode, we get the continued story in like 1 minute backstage scenes of Vince, Kurt and Austin, and later Tori, Wilson. And you've also got this other one running through with the APA trying to find the mole.
Yeah.
These episodes were written like television shows back in the day. And now they're more written like boring sports events. Yes. In the pursuit of trying to make a more realistic sports-based product, they've gone too far and are doing, a baseball game takes 4 hours with a lot of downtime, so we should have a 4-hour PLA.
Yeah. This will be an interesting one to keep an eye on as well, because obviously next week, all these plans are changing. I wonder if we're going to get a payoff to this mole storyline. And if not, maybe we can actually add that to the list of unsolved mysteries and replace who was the guy that raised the briefcase at the 1999 King of the Ring. It was the fucking boss man, and we all know it was the boss man.
Well, jury's out. Jury's out. So next up, we get The Undertaker versus Prince Albert.
Just Albert.
Just Albert. He was stripped of his titles, not because of any list.
Albert Mambas and Windsor.
So if we cut to the screen now, look, here's the screen. Look at all those signs.
WWF will kick WCW's asses.
Dead Man Inc. Austin 316.
Hi, Alexis and Tristan.
And of course, because it's 2001. Oh, what time is this? Oh, sorry, a little bit further. So Taker's coming out. There's still loads of signs. And of course, John is gay. This is what it was at the time.
You know what? It was funny in 2001.
It was funny back then.
But, who's the real criminal? The guy who made the sign, or, the guy that watched and laughed at him.
Yeah, it's an interesting...
Or actually John.
Yeah, it's just fuck John. But it's an interesting question to ask. With this specific example, I would clearly say that guy's to blame.
Yeah. I would agree. Also, I love, this era of Undertaker with the rolling music. I was actually quite into the American Badass. I think it's dated quite horribly, but I get such a laugh out of this second part. There's actually 3 parts of the Taker origin, and we're in the third part at the moment. There'll be a 4th part we'll get to soon. First part is when it's Kid Rock American Badass. Then the second part of that is Limp Bizkit's Rolling. And the third part of that is Limp Bizkit's Rolling, but with 20 seconds of clomping shoes before Taker. Clomp, clomp, clomp. It goes on for a...
Dead man walking.
It goes for a comically long time. Just clomp, 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 clomp. It's like, is he there yet? Clomp, clomp.
I'll take 20 seconds of clomping over a 5-minute yeet.
What a pop for Taker as well.
Huge.
As he comes out. He's got Sarah on the back of the bike, who is one of the main characters.
Oh, do you think the pop was also for Sarah? How much? How much can we attribute to Sarah here in pop terms?
Yeah, is it
1%?
Is it the bike, Taker, Limp Bizkit, or Sarah? I think if we're ranking these things... So we get a recap of Albert winning the WWF Intercontinental Championship from Kane because DDP attacked Kane on SmackDown.
Yeah, so this is the Foley quote you like a lot.
If you haven't won a title during the invasion, you clearly suck.
So Albert canonically doesn't suck.
Yeah, let's see what... Because this is part of a big push of Albert's. They need some... It's a weird thing to say, because I'm about to say they need some new guys when they've just signed 30 new guys. But they Rock, Rock's gone. Rock's just left them for a little bit. Maybe he's got an eye on Hollywood. There's a lot of stories going around in the press at the moment that he is going to be a huge thing in Hollywood. He's got rave reviews coming out, The Mummy 2. He's got his own film coming out, The Scorpion King. I don't know how much longer he's going to be around for. Triple H has gone out with an injury. Benoit's just gone out with a long... Like, they're going to both be out for the rest of this whole year. Guerrero's gone now at this point. He's been fired.
Yeah, of course.
So... You got that. Steve Austin is pretty much injury prone at this point. It's like, I don't know how much longer we've got with Steve. We need to start building some new guys. Can't rely on Taker. He's also old at this point. Start building some new guys. And Albert is one of the projects. So with Albert, Test is another one of them. Let's keep an eye on how well they do as we go along this series. Test will do better than Albert does.
So this is Albert is part of, is it X Factor?
Yo, you're dealing with the X Factor. I got everything that I ever wanted.
With X-Pac and Just Incredible,
yeah.
who do not interfere in his behalf here.
Well, no, Albert doesn't need them.
That's left to DDP.
Yeah, well, Albert doesn't need those little guys. X-Pac and Just Incredible.
It is a bit of an admin error, isn't it? But he's still in that group. So this, the crowd remains really loud, even after the bell hits. I recorded this at a 19 minutes in start time and a 22 minutes in finish. That's a 3-minute match.
Yep.
Because the crowd at this time do not want to see wrestling. And they expect it from the pay-per-views and maybe the main event, but the majority of the show is essentially, it's excitement. We don't have to wait 10, 15 minutes for the inevitable, frustrating interference.
That's the key to this.
It happens right away.
Yeah.
That's again, another huge lesson that I've learned watching the Attitude Era stuff. The interference doesn't matter as much when it's not ruining what's been a good 10, 15-minute match that you've invested in.
That's why you don't groan. And actually, back in this point as well, like Dave was saying, usually when you get the interference, it's a bit of a groan finish to it because they were doing it so often. But if you do it sporadically and you're not doing it after 15-minute matches, you're probably not going to get that sort of level of like groaning from the crowd. You mentioned it's a 3-minute match. I would wager a minute and a half of that is that Albert bear hug.
It is 45 seconds. I timed it at.
It's so long, and then he just goes right back to it as well. Let's just get into this rest hold in this 3-minute match.
But the crowd really pick up, like when Taker starts getting up. That's the heat. That's the heat.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't like it's only half. I mean, I'm making a joke. It's half the match. But it's 45 seconds, then you just go straight back into boom, boom, boom from Undertaker.
Yeah, because if you're listening to a song and it's a punk song and it's 2.5 minutes and there's it goes down in the middle, you're like, okay, well, this is only going to last 20 seconds. It will go crazy again in 20 seconds. It's actually part of the enjoyment of the song. If you're listening to a 10-minute song and it has a 3-minute down bit in the middle, the equivalent of the Baron Corbin rest hold, then you might just turn it off.
Yeah. This match is Taker runs wild, bear hug by Albert, Taker fights out and runs wild and then teases hitting his finishing moves. That's pretty much it. Did you catch Heyman's new nickname for Albert?
No.
The Rabbi of Retribution.
Is he Jewish?
I'm going to assume so.
Heyman is.
Taker kicks out of the bicycle kick, hits the chokeslam. He teases the last ride, but DDP runs in and hits him with a chair for the DQ. Finally, DDP gets one up on The Undertaker. That'll be DDP for the rest of the night. He walks away with his head held high, finally getting one up on his arch rival. Oh no. Oh no. Sarah then shoves DDP. And then she takes some swings at DDP and he has to run away from her. Oh, no. Oh, and then Kane shows up. Oh,
well,
and
he goes to he's like, actually, I'm going to hit a woman.
Yeah.
But then Kane appears from behind him. And honestly, the crowd go ballistic.
Because Kane's awesome.
And it's the dramatic irony of DDP is about to hit a woman. Oh, but Kane's going to stop him.
Kane's sister-in-law, no less.
Yeah.
And Sarah low blows DDP. Then they throw him to The Undertaker. And then oddly, Albert makes the save for DDP, so Taker can escape. Taker and Kane lay him out. And they say this was all a setup that they tried to make out on commentary. Oh, Taker set DDP up because he knew that DDP would interfere in his match so they could beat up DDP. Because DDP's an idiot and Taker's awesome and can't be beaten.
Yeah, Taker always one step ahead.
It's about them wanting to make DDP look like an absolute goober at every opportunity. They do the same with Howard Finkel. So they do it to their own as well. It's not just these WCW guys.
Well, it's Howard Finkel. Who's that guy? I must say, though, what Tori Wilson is wearing is
you want to show?
So stunningly sort of attention-grabbing, let's say.
She's one of your girls, is Tori.
I would also just start listing my employee history if I saw her.
Yeah, it's if you're looking at the screen now, it's not what Kane is wearing. It's the next scene.
Well, Kane is sexiest.
Oh, yeah. This is best Kane. Look at him.
Yeah, he's great. Christ.
Tori Wilson! Oh my goodness, Tori, I'm Howard Finkel. Really nice to meet you. You know, I was the first employee ever hired by the World Wrestling Federation. And I joined on SmackDown last Thursday, and now I want to know, are you a member of the WWF family?
Well, that's why I'm here today. I was putting the ropes on crying. Can you tell me where this McMahon's office is?
Oh, sure. All you have to do is go down the hallway a little bit, take your first right, and it's right there.
Okay.
Great to meet you, Tori. Okay.
You know what? Screw you, WWF, because you have scripted something to make Fink look like a dweeb.
Yeah.
And you've got Tori doing the eye roll there when it cuts back to the arena. JR's like, good grief. But you know what? He comes off as the nicest, purest, loveliest man.
He is a previous generation's Chris Park.
Yes. Great comparison.
The nicest guy, just wants to do their job really well, and does do their job really well. But he's surrounded by some bully dickheads who are just like, this dweeb. He wants to do his job well. He's a nice guy. Ugh.
The Fink, when he sadly passed away, there was a lovely story about how every Monday night he made sure the TV was positioned for him in his hospital ward or his hospice so he could watch the wrestling.
Yeah.
All those years later, he is the best of us. He is the best of us. I love Howard Finkel.
He loved this company more than it ever loved him back.
Yeah. So he just starts, as you saw that clip there, I'm the first ever employee hired. That's what I would say to her. If Tori Wilson just came over to me, I was like, what's a generic Wikipedia thing you could say about yourself?
About what? I mean, if it was you, you'd be like, I did my first Royal Rumble review in 2016 and relaunched the WrestleTalk News.
How are you doing?
Are you coming to join the WrestleTalk family?
What would you do? Hi, I'm Luke Owen. I wrote a book called Under Consultation.
That's not what my book was called, but yes.
Oh, of course, sorry.
I did a podcast called that.
I got your side hustles mixed up.
Yeah, I wrote a book about video game movies. Are you here to join the WrestleTalk family?
But, I don't want to be too lechy on this podcast, but... It's not quite Sable in, with the handprints, but... Good grief! Oh, that's I've written here. So should we listen to JR in the back of this? So it comes out of that segment, and so I can't tell. And this is the trick with JR, whether he hated that segment or he's horny.
Oh, is he saying good grief about Tori or Fink? Great conundrum.
Because JR does get a bit horny sometimes.
That's what I'm going to ask the comments to do. Just put one name. Just put either Fink or Tori, with no other context.
Okay. Because
that's what you think. Is JR talking about Fink or is he talking about Tori?
Is he negatively talking about the Fink, or is he positively talking about Tori Wilson?
Hauntingly talking about Tori Wilson. Up next, Molly Holly will take on Crash.
Intergender match.
Yeah, the cousins are clashing here.
2 minutes. 2 minutes, most of it interference.
I would say it's one of the better matches on the card.
Would you? With, it's quite impressive in a 2-minute match to botch one of the 8 moves you do. And it's not Molly Holly, because Molly Holly's a good wrestler.
Look,
as is Crash.
Crash has a match again on SmackDown where he faces Jack Willen. The finish of this, Crash and Jackie are not on the same page. Molly has left Molly has left the Holly cousins to side with Spike Dudley, who in himself has left the Dudley boys because they were the Romeo Juliet star-crossed lovers.
Lovely story.
Thor and Jane Foster in the Patty Jenkins version of Thor: The Dark World. And so now they are facing off against each other, but Jackie doesn't like Crash either, but she's pretending to like Crash. She then turns on Crash at the end of the match, and then Crash and Jackie have a match on SmackDown. That match is pretty darn good. It goes about the same sort of length of time.
It goes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty darn good match for 2 minutes.
For 2 minutes, yeah.
Within these 2 minutes, we get this.
One second. He's not perfect. Look, I can't rag on Crash too much because I recently just read the Hardcore Diaries, and this is a bad time for.
Oh, was it really personally?
Personal demons. He will be dead within a year and a bit. 2003, I think he dies.
I just want to enjoy a botch, man. Like,
I'm not saying
me down.
I'm not saying his personal demons were why he botched.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's hard to rag on the guy so much.
The crowd chanted, "You effed up."
I particularly laughed when Paul Heyman was blown away by the popularity of Spike Dudley. Because like Spike comes out and people are like, "Hey, Spike's here," and he's like, "Why do people like him?"
I think that's Heyman trying to get over his ECW.
It
guy.
is.
Yeah.
Because Heyman will go out of his way to put over. If you were ever associated with ECW, apart from Mike Awesome, but if you were ever associated with ECW, Heyman will go to great lengths to put you over.
Yeah, because Heyman essentially negging Spike there is drawing more attention to Spike, and he's that character. So
he's the heel.
It's good stuff. Yeah, and Jacqueline beats up Crash afterwards, which is apology not accepted for when Crash accidentally knocked into her the previous week.
If I was an agent at this time, I think I would say to Molly Holly, I would stop doing the Molly go-round because you never land it neatly. It looks very clumsy. Have a different finish.
I don't want to compare everything to now, like these days, but this is a storyline that started last Thursday. You know, Jacqueline and Crash were an act.
Yep.
Crash collided with Jacqueline. And it was like, oh, are they back together? They seem to be back together here. Jacqueline beat up Crash at the end of this. So they've fully broken up. And on Thursday, they have a match on SmackDown.
Yes.
That would be 4 months in today's WWE with just long periods of nothing. You would have seen glances.
You would have seen them arguing backstage as someone else was walking towards the ring.
Look, this is an undercard, nothing matters storyline.
Yeah.
Just wrap it up in a week.
With 6 minutes of wrestling.
Don't have Grace and Waller and Austin Theory just there.
Yeah, and then actually don't break up. Then we cut backstage to, you want to talk about giving a segment some time and it being awesome. Vince, Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, and Deborah. And Vince is mad. We need to get on the same page here, guys. Why are you two arguing? I've got this WCW that's trying to invade here. My son, my wife is doing all of these things. I need you guys to get on the same page. And Austin's like, yeah, Kurt should leave. And Kurt just goes, why?
It's like I said earlier that Vince has become the straight man in this dynamic. But it's even better than that. He is the suffering father to these two brothers who just won't get on.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing because it just releases Steve and Kurt to do the best stuff.
Yeah.
Neither are self-aware as well as a character.
Yeah. Steve talks about in his book about, and you can tell it's just improv.
Really good. That's so cool.
They were just like, it was like, yeah, we'll just go in there, we'll do a few things. Not everything works. We'll do 2 takes of each thing that we do. We'll pick and choose the best moments from each one, and we'll just go for it.
Oh, so that's not live. They pre-film these.
Oh yeah, these are always like usually pre-tapes.
So Tori walks in. You know, that previous bit was only 30, 40 seconds long. Again, doesn't have to be a long thing.
And he's Kurt Angle says, "Hi, I'm Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist." And Tori says, "Yeah, no, we met on SmackDown."
And Kurt goes, yeah, that's right. He is such a Carlton from Fresh Prince here.
Steve Austin goes, "Steve Austin, WWF champion."
Yeah, he goes, "How's it going, champ?" Like he just says champ. Because Kurt, Kurt is, "Oh, how's it going? I'm an Olympic gold medalist." Steve Austin, "How's it going, champ?" just to put over he has a title. And Vince is just like, because he already wanted to get away from Steve and Kurt, and now there is his kryptonite. Shall we say this up front? Yes, it's mad awkward, because this stuff is great if Vince wasn't then accused of the most heinous sexual misconduct things 2.5 decades later.
Yeah, with every scene with Vince McMahon and Tori Wilson, you can end it off, if only there were signs.
Yeah, it is so in your face. So just like when we have to review a Benoit storyline or match, we're just going to say that up front, and then we're going to have to move it to the side to enjoy it as a piece of art. We are going to watch Manhattan, and we're not going to pay attention to how young that girl looks and is in a relationship with Woody Allen.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is a very funny series of skits, and the final skit is really very funny.
And Vince is brilliant. He's perfect in them.
Yeah. So Tori comes in because she is looking to get a job in the World Wrestling Federation. And in order to do that, she needs to meet with Vince McMahon. And Steve says, that's a good idea. Deborah and Kurt, you should leave.
So we're saying all the WCW guys, they haven't got jobs with WWF.
She is looking to jump. She is a contracted WCW wrestler, but she wants to jump across to the WWF.
Or does she?
Well, that's the thing. I think she is very much working with Linda McMahon.
I will say that we don't. That's not teased.
At this point, no. That's a swerve at the end of the episode.
It's very well done. Like, I think Tori plays her role perfectly as well.
Yeah, but Vince decides that we should do this privately, and Austin just hugs Vince. I think we should do this in private. Austin just grabs him in for a hug.
And Vince and Tori walk out, and you can hear Vince like, "Oh, you look beautiful, by the way," and they leave. And it is just leaving the two bickering brothers who do not get on, and Kurt and Steve just start arguing.
And Deborah, who is also in the room, credit to Deborah, she is not as funny as the rest of them, but she is there to just sort of like be almost a moral compass, because she's talking about like, that man told me that he was a changed man and he's going off out there with another woman. And Steve's like, he wants to talk business, but he can because Kurt's here.
And Kurt's like, no, he didn't leave because I'm here. He left because... And Steve's like, what? Left because, huh? And Kurt is just throwing his head in Deborah's direction. And then Steve starts doing the same thing. Oh my God, can we just watch it? Can we just watch it?
It's so difficult to not just watch a lot of these clips. I queued up one from SmackDown. I was like, I can't just watch this full clip.
Oh, actually, it's a rabbit hole. We're just going to watch the whole segment.
Why? Why not? No, why? Wait a minute.
Okay, so Tori's going to enter now.
We've got to get along. We've got to get along.
It's not business appropriate, is it? This outfit.
How you doing? Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist.
Hi, Kurt. Yeah, we met last Thursday.
Oh, that's right. Nice to meet you again.
Wait.
How's it going? Champ.
Champ.
Yeah, how's it going, Champ?
I might start just introduce, like, if you say, I'm Luke Cohen, I say, I'm Ollie Davis, champ. What did he say? But yeah,
look how close as well Steve stands to Vince at all times.
Yeah,
And
we got to have the hug. We got to have the hug.
Well, maybe I should not embarrass anybody here and go out just for a moment. You know what I mean? Well, it's not that I don't need you, but I think it's
What people often overlook about wrestlers is because they tell stories through their physicality, they are often fantastic physical comedians or slapstick comedians. So just like the like Okada, like with the pacing, the time, so much about wrestling is timing, as is the secret of comedy. But here is.
Oh, he's not with me. I think he is. No, I don't think so. Then why did he leave? You got a point.
He just under his breath goes, "Your wife."
You got
a point.
That is what, a 2-minute skit, and it is there are 3 brilliant comedy moments in that anyway. I don't think I'm really conscious about being just nostalgic for this time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's just. I think this is objectively great comedic backstage wrestling segments.
I'm not nostalgic. I mean, in a way I am, but I'm not just nostalgic for American Pie. That is a funny movie. I'm not just nostalgic for this. That is a funny backstage skit. Yeah. Is it what I would do with Stone Cold Steve Austin if I had him in the prime of his life as my World Wrestling Federation champion? Probably not. But I would also be missing out on some comedy gold.
You know, the closest modern WWE has come to it is probably some of those Bloodline bits.
Yeah.
Sammy and the Bloodline and just like Roman would have like Roman would be there and Sammy's really excited and just little bits like that. Yeah. And that would play out throughout an episode of SmackDown. Like you'd have a minute, then an hour later there'd be another minute. But yeah, it's just... I think rewatching this stuff, I think that's actually what I want a wrestling program to be. I want to have the quality of the modern matches, AEW style, but then I do want more of a soap opera, cross-cutting narrative thread where you've got the APA, and we check in on them throughout the episode to build to a crescendo.
I don't think I need it to be soap opera. I just think I need it to not take itself so seriously.
Okay, yeah, both of those. I agree. Yeah.
Anyway, amazing. So JR then throws to a recap of Palumbo and O'Haire jumping a couple of guys on SmackDown, and then the WWF B team, as Dave Meltzer called them in The Observer, retaliating and beating them up.
Kind of legit.
This is from Bob Holly's The Hardcore Truth. I remember chasing O'Haire and his partner Chuck Palumbo through Madison Square Garden. The two of them had just interfered in a match and beaten up the WWF guys, so a bunch of us went out there to chase them off. They tried to escape into the crowd, but we blocked their way, got them back to the ring, and beat the hell out of them. It was the first time any of the WWF guys got their hands on these invaders. And I'll tell you something. In that ring that night, it was 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato more. The agent said, "It's TV. Just lay it in there." We knew what that meant. It was seek and destroy. Those two were the sacrificial lambs, and the beating they took, and they took a hell of a stiff beating, was a message to the rest of the new WCW guys to know their position. There's no real reason why it was O'Haire and Palumbo specifically who took the beating, at least not a reason I ever heard of. I kind of ended up being one of Vince's enforcers during the invasion. I was told to go out there and beat the shit out of a few of them. They needed the legit tough guys in there just in case something happened, so Vince turned to me, Ron Simmons, and Bradshaw a lot. We wanted to make sure the WCW guys knew that they wouldn't be coming into our locker room and taking over. In WCW, everybody had an ego. They were going to have to get used to leaving that ego at the door. We're going to get that, otherwise they're going to get their asses handed to them.
This is some Sopranos mob level mentality.
Yeah.
We needed to send a message. It didn't matter who we beat up. We're just like, because surely put Buff in a match next. I'm not advocating that you legit beat people up in a wrestling show, but put Buff in a match in the middle of the card the next week and have Bob Holly beat the crap out of him because he misbehaved or has been misbehaving. Palumbo and O'Haire, they're just was it catching strays?
There was just a very weird mentality of this sort of tough guys thing that the WWF had. Bob's one of these guys. Farouk and Bradshaw are very much part of these crew. Taker's another one, the Bone Street crew and all of that. Bradshaw, there's a story of when the Public Enemy first came from ECW to WWF, and they didn't last very long. But the APA's attitude, the Acolytes as they just were then, their attitude was like, oh, they've come from ECW, are they? Bet they're tough guys. So they just beat the shit out of them in a match. And then the Public Enemy complained that they were working too stiff. So then Bradshaw and Farouk were like, oh, I thought they were supposed to be tough guys that came from the that Extreme Championship Wrestling place. Shows how extreme they are. And they got absolutely jobbed out and then left very quickly. They did the same thing to the Dudley Boys when they came in. But the Dudley Boys took that beating and did not complain, and that's why they lasted.
It's a pretty toxic work environment, if you ask me.
Awful. But the way that Bob talks about it in the book is like, that's the way the business should be. That's the problem with the youth of today, is that they're not tough. And that's why they don't last very long in this industry, even though they have longer careers.
Yeah, longer careers, more athletic matches, more innovative moves. It is, It's an outdated philosophy with quite toxic results. And like you look up and down this company, you got the chairman of the company behaving like this with women shoot backstage. And then you've got the male side of the roster beating each other up.
Yeah.
It's just...
for literally no reason.
Yeah, what is this? The fans trying to buy tickets for a September show?
It's like...
You said they were, remember earlier.
Yeah.
Doing a callback.
It's a good callback, actually. I forgot about that one. I liked it, though. It's what Alvarez said earlier in the newsletter, and he makes so much reference to in the death of WCW as well. They're not WCW. They're your guys. But Meltzer talked about it in The Observer. It's like what Jim Crockett did when he got in, built, oh, yeah, but we've got to treat them like they're the outsiders. No, they're your siders. They're on your inside. Yeah. Backstage, Christian stares lovingly at the King of the Ring trophy that isn't his. He's like, you know what? If those brackets were different, maybe I could have won.
Implying Edge. He's better than Edge.
Yeah. And then Edge walks in and was like, yeah, but I won. And Chris is like, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely right. I know. It's so good that you did. I'm really glad that you did. And I'm going to win tonight as well, because I'm going to go win the light heavyweight championship, and then we'll both be winners.
And Edge is like, yeah, everything's just fine.
And Christian walks away with the trophy I'm just going to get it polished.
Mm-hmm.
Backstage, Regal is talking to Tajiri because Tajiri has got a match with Scotty 2 Hottie coming up later, and Regal is giving Tajiri advice on how to avoid the worm.
Again, comedic. And this segment isn't just them two with their relationship and the match later on. The Dudleys now come in, setting up a different match. It's an interconnected, breathing universe.
Yeah. He feels like a GM.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, because he has been interrupted by some talent who are unhappy with what they've been booked for, which is having a match against Chris Jericho. They're like, we're the tag team champions. Why are we facing one guy? And Regal explains, well, Vince wants Jericho punished for all those WCW defection rumors at King of the Ring. Consequences... It's like a little minor point from King of the Ring, really. Mm-hmm. Semi-major, actually. That is having a follow-on 2 weeks later. And the Dudleys just go, oh, that's all you had to say.
Yeah.
We'll beat them up for you.
And to talk about the following episode of SmackDown, this leads to a match on SmackDown. Because Jericho, he gets the win later on tonight. Mm-hmm. On SmackDown, it's Jericho and Spike Dudley versus the Dudleys for the tag titles.
Perfect.
It's going from one show into the next. Hardcore Holly backstage.
Oh, sorry. Just it ends with the Dudleys leaving. Regal turns around, and Tajiri is just miming the worm in front of him.
I love this pairing so much.
The pairing's great, but it's just like finish on a punchline.
Yeah.
There's all entertaining. These are so entertaining, so densely entertaining.
Yeah. Backstage, Hardcore Holly, wearing his Undertaker merchandise, the big mark, tells the APA, I'm not a stooge. I didn't let that guy in. You should be looking at the people that weren't there that night. And he was like, yeah, maybe you're right. Whole segment.
Yeah.
They interrogated some guy. He's like, not me. I think you should look over there. It's like, yeah, let's all go and check over there.
It's just storyline, cross-cutting between different bits of narrative. This is a TV show.
Yeah.
It's not a sports program.
Do you want more backstage?
Yes!
Because Vince and Tori are in the shower. She suggested that maybe they meet this weekend. And
they're there, by the way, to try and hide from Austin and Kurt.
Because Austin and Kurt are in his office.
Yeah.
So they can't... He hasn't got a private place for them to meet. So they're going to hide in the shower instead. And she tells him that she will do anything to get this job.
Oh, the crowd popped for that.
Anything. And then, I mean, you know what? Sorry, I know we're clip heavy.
I've also got a clip from this segment.
but I think we do need to, because this reveal.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's so good. Right, here we go.
Sadly, do you want to be a WCW?
Oh, Dad.
No, Tori. How badly
If only the signs were there.
do you want to be a WWF superstar?
Oh, Dad.
Really?
Oh, yes, Mr. Miller.
You said you were talking over a contract. You're standing in this chair with Tori. What is this?
It's just... It's just that Austin doesn't immediately go, "You're trying to avoid me." He's like, "Why are you here?" And it's the same with Kurt. Why are you in a broom
Why are you in a
closet?
mop closet?
It's so funny.
Also, I think the pair of them don't think that Vince is trying to sleep with Tori Wilson.
Yeah.
Because he said, "I'm a changed man." And they're like, well, of course he is. So I don't know why you're having a contract meeting in the shower.
This is a changed man from his Trish affair leading
Yes.
into X7 is what Deborah was referencing earlier. But again, the parking, the sexual misconduct stuff, the story of... It's kind of similar to the Trish barking on all fours thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's ultimately too far, I think. But the story they were telling and why Trish is comfortable with it, and even in hindsight, is that was Trish suckering Vince's character in so Trish could then get the revenge at X7.
Correct.
And here, Tori is like, well, I've got to sleep with this guy to get a contract here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go along with it. Actually, she turns out to be the smartest person by the end of the episode, and Vince is humiliated.
It's one of Vince's strengths as a performer is, and you know, you can almost say this in a literal sense as you will later on, he knew when to show his ass. He knew when to get the comeuppance. It's something that Stephanie never did. She never got her comeuppance. Dixie Carter, another one, never got her comeuppance once across the whole thing. Vince was always making himself the butt of a joke.
And I don't want people to go back and watch this and think, oh, this is inappropriate. Like, it's inappropriate because of the real life stuff behind this. As a purely on-screen story, it's very appropriate.
Yeah.
It's like, this is nuts and bolts, good stuff to do. Just like you need to bully someone sometimes in character as part of a story for the bullied person to get the revenge on the bully. Otherwise, they're not a bully.
So Austin, like Vince said, well, you know, sometimes there aren't any good places to talk about contracts. And Austin's like, well, that's fine. Well, I think we need to talk about the invasion.
But I think Vince then goes, well, that's not all I'm thinking.
No,
about.
what he says is, because Austin goes, we need to think about the invasion. And Vince's like, well, that's all I'm ever thinking about. It's all I'm thinking of right now is the invasion. So I think you and we should meet later to talk about the invasion. First, I do need to take care of business. But I'm always thinking about the invasion. But clearly, he is not. The invasion is so far from his mind, which should be why they lost.
Yeah. Preoccupied Vince. And then Austin goes, okay, I'll go get us coffee. And then Tori leaves and Vince looks at her ass.
Scotty Too Hottie takes on Tajiri. We get some ECW chants in this when Tajiri busts out the tarantula. This is like Scotty Too Hottie's big return. He came back from injury. Unfortunately, his tag partner, Grandmaster Sexay, is gone by this point. So Scotty is on his own. Scotty hits the worm, but Regal distracts the referee. And as Scotty is about to drop the arm on the worm, Tajiri mists upwards.
Fantastic finish.
Yeah.
Like it's such an impact when Scotty goes down with the chop and the pfft. Yeah. Really, really good.
Buzzsaw kick, Tajiri gets the win. Paul Heyman, uncomment's like, I never found out where that mist came from.
3 minutes that took 3 minutes. And it was brought to you by Stacker 2, the world's best fat burner. Do you want to hear the history of Stacker 2?
I would love to. This is where Ollie comes into his own on these shows.
So, August 2005, the parent company of Stacker 2 was sued by a woman that suffered a hemorrhage stroke because of Stacker 2 complications. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy under pressure from the lawsuits. But they're back in 2006 when they released the 6-hour Power Energy shot.
I think it was 6 hour Stacker 3.
Then in 2010, it was the second best-selling energy shot behind 5-hour energy. Well, there's the mistake you made. They've undercut your 6-hour energy. Oh, no, wait, that's better, isn't it?
That's better, yeah. 6 hour. You want 6 hour energy.
And then in 2016...
Well, 5-hour energy got sponsored by WWE. Got sponsored with WWE.
In 2016, it lost $22 million in a lawsuit against 5-hour energy, which accused Stacker 2 of infringement.
Great.
And it's also brought to you by the PlayStation 2.
Yes, it is.
With the blue sort of font. But later we get brought to you by PlayStation with the classic PlayStation 1 red and yellow font.
Because the PlayStation 2 is brand new, and they were still doing games for both systems at this point. I get my PS2 this year. I get it in December, and people often ask, like, what's your favorite console of all time? I think it is the PlayStation 2. It's either that or the original PlayStation.
Well, I've told my story with my first PlayStation 2.
It breaks my heart. It's horrible.
I saved up my pocket money and my paper round, of which I did a lot, for 6 months. So I could, because I'd sort of worked out what my parents needed to buy both the PlayStation 2 and the big 5 pay-per-views on Silvervision disc. Mm-hmm. And I got it for Christmas. It's exactly what the plan was pulled off. We went to my grandparents the next day, as we always did for Boxing Day. We get back, and our house had been burgled, and they had taken the PlayStation 2 and 4 of the big 5, including WrestleMania X7, what was on there. But sorry, that was the previous year. So it wouldn't have been WrestleMania X7, WrestleMania 2000. But I had taken SummerSlam 2000 with me for no reason to my grandparents.
To look at it.
To just look at it.
Which, honestly, sometimes amazing to do.
For a day, I couldn't bear to be apart from it.
It's your favourite pay-per-view ever.
It was the only show I could watch over and over again.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
And it was also brought to you by JVC's GigaTube.
GigaTube.
It's a stereo with 3-disc capability.
Man, when I first I didn't get a 3-disc changer until years later. I got my brother's hand-me-down of his 3-disc changer. But I felt like the coolest kid in my shared house at university, because I could have 3 CDs in there at any one time. I'd be like, I could just switch between these.
So I started with a 3-disc, and then by the time I was 15, I had a 5-disc.
Yeah, the 5-disc, yeah.
So that meant I always had 2 in there. Like, the 2 did not change, and the other 3 were whatever I was into. Mm-hmm. Did you have a similar one for your 3? Was always 1?
There was always tend to be 1. It used to be like the Horror Pops' Bring It On was usually in disc 1's slot, because I was massively into them at university. And then the other 2 discs would change up, maybe be the Phoenix Wright 1 soundtrack or something. But yeah, my brother had a 5-disc changer for his car.
Oh, ridiculous. You've got to go into the boot to load the CDs.
I did.
And it would need some pretty intense
wiring.
Yeah, wiring. What do they call it? Jump shock? Jog proof?
Yeah, oh yeah, shock proof.
Shock proof, yeah, because any speed bump would skip my dad's friends CD
so
player.
When I used to I used to work at Sainsbury's, so to cycle to my job there, I used to have my backpack on, and within that I would have my work clothes. So I'd have my trousers and my work shirt, my Sainsbury's work shirt, and my shoes, and I would just then go in like my jeans and stuff. And then I would balance my CD player on top of that in its case with the headphones coming out the top of my bag. It never skipped because I had a proper thick case that also held CDs. So it had like extra padding, never skipped.
Just like a perfect container for all of those things.
Absolutely, yeah. It was the right height.
I'll just say, because I set it up and you didn't ask me. Mine were Pinkerton, of course, by Weezer, and The Bends by Radiohead.
Very nice.
Wasn't cool enough for OK Computer yet. But Kid A came.
I still don't think I am.
I don't think you are either.
Yeah, I think I'm pure Bends.
Yeah.
Anyway, a good match. Vince.
let's have some perspective. It was a 3-minute match.
I had fun with it.
With interference for the last minute.
Distraction, didn't have interference.
It's a good point, yeah. Sorry. Fun. It was a fun match.
Fun match.
It wasn't a good... It was, it was exactly what it was meant to do.
And again, we talk about finishes. Them having a distraction finish, and, one match earlier, we had an interference finish there. I don't mind. The match was 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
I didn't wait 15 minutes of a good match, and then it ends with a naff finish.
The good matches are saved for the main event, which will go 10, maybe 12 minutes.
Eesh,
But it doesn't matter when you get the schmoz at the end, because they're all the biggest stars. I do not care if Tajiri wrestled Billy Kidman for 10 minutes in this time. That's unfair, because I probably would. And then there was interference at the end. That's bad. You've got to get yourself in the 2001 mindset, everyone. these are not matches. These are segments with physicality, and a bell has rang either side.
Yeah. And it ultimately often doesn't lead to much of anything. Vince now is somewhere else. He's in a mop closet. But Vince has renamed this mop closet Shangri-La. And he kisses her on the neck. And Kurt Angle walks in and goes, I thought I heard voices. Oh, it's you guys. Hi, Kurt Angle. Have you seen my Olympic gold medals?
And he asks what they're doing in a mop closet.
What are you guys doing in a mop closet?
And they just walk off in a huff, and it just ends with Kurt going, I think she likes me. And you can hear the crowd laugh.
He's such a dork.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So I enjoyed, I think this is the time to do the Kurt spot, but the next one we'll see is in the bathroom, and we get Perry Saddam, which is rubbish. But
we've got to punish Perry.
What's famous about Perry?
That he has moppy. Yes.
That he's got a mop, and now they're in a mop closet.
I know, but there's also comedy to be had from him doing a big poo.
Yeah, that is funnier.
Well, it is with you, Vince. Not looking at the allegations against Vince McMahon as it relates to poo. Anyway, Booker T is backstage getting a drink, and he introduces himself to Tess. Historians will immediately, like me, write down, future tag team champions, Booker T and Tess. They will form a tag team during our time on this podcast. And Booker's like, oh, yeah, Shane told me a lot about you, because Shane and Tess have got a lot of history together.
Yeah.
And Booker says to him, like, I wonder if you'll ever come across the WCW. And Tess is like, well, you know what? If the money's right, maybe I'll come for that title of yours. Pardon.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this all about?
And it's sort of to set up this is part of the APA mole thing.
Yeah.
But let's just look. This is Booker T, the world heavyweight champion, the top star at the moment of WCW.
The only star.
DDP. Who is going to have a main event match in like half an hour. And this is his first appearance really outside of running in on things. This is him, just everyday Booker T. This is how we're introduced to him. He is trying to buy a can of Pepsi, and his money is rejected. Yeah. This is the introduction to the world heavyweight champion, and then he interacts with a lower mid-carder in Test. This is instantly, that's your slot. Yeah. Because a better way, just like off the top of my head, is maybe the first time we see Booker T, he's in he's got his own locker room. He's got like managers and an entourage, and Shane's in there, and champagne.
Invaders. They can't have the big stuff. They're not supposed to be there.
They've got the mat. Like he's like, it's outside. It's a production truck that Shane's rented. But make it up.
You should make him look like a bigger deal. That's what I said earlier. Video packages. You own so much footage of these guys.
But it's not just you should be building them up. This actively makes him look like a chump.
Yeah.
His money has been rejected. The guy can't buy a can of Pepsi. He's a loser.
Coming up next, the Dudley Boys have a handicap match against Chris Jericho. And JR talking about the rumor. If it was true, but like the argument they give is like, well, if it was true, Jericho would have just gone anyway. What they actually sort of find out is the Bret Hart lie that they told themselves for so many years. If Bret was going to show up on the next Nitro after Survivor Series, why didn't he just show up on the Nitro after Survivor Series? Oh, because he couldn't. Because contractually, he was not allowed to.
We didn't know that at the time, though.
We did! It's in the Observer! They were talking about it there and then.
This is 5 minutes. Pretty much double the length of any other match we've had so far.
Yeah, they beat him up a bunch. Jericho makes a comeback. He has the match won, but Bubba pulls the referee out of the ring as Devon is tapping. Bubba gets the table, but who should run in to help him but that little Spike Dudley, and he gives Bubba the Dudley dog on top of Devon. Jericho hits the Lion Salt, and he gets the win.
He hit the Lion Salt purely on Devon's face. This is in 2K, and you've got like the body bit that gets damaged. The head just goes red off of this. The fun stuff. I love how it's interconnected with Spike, with the Dudleys. There's a reason why this match is happening. Spike wants revenge, and it builds to a match on Thursday as well.
Yeah. Vince and Tori meet again. They, I think, kiss a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
This is aggressive kissing.
Yeah.
And then she has this really, the problem with this segment is it's got a bad setup line and a bad punchline. Because
bear with us.
Because Tori is making out with Vince and she says, "Oh, what's that cologne you're wearing?" And then you hear a toilet flush and Perry walks in because he's just taken a giant dump. And he says, "You're welcome." And that's the segment. That's the punchline. But Tori's setup line was, "Your cologne, I can smell shit." Is that your cologne?
It's a bit of a burn, isn't it?
She's been with him for quite some time at this point.
Okay. So in its defense, I agree. But I think what they're trying to do is now they've gotten so close, she can smell his cologne that's closer on him. And she says, "Oh, what cologne are you wearing?" And Vince goes, "Oh, maybe it is a little strong." As if like the cologne is bad or there's too much of it. No, it's actually Perry Saturn's poo.
Yeah. Did Vince think that it was his cologne?
I guess he didn't smell it.
Surely he would just go like, "No, that's clearly poo."
Are you thick? We're in a toilet.
It's quite clearly the smell of poo.
Perry Saturn comes out, says "Doody" and "You're welcome." So he just has the brain of a child.
Well, he's being punished. Shouldn't have beat up that guy on Jacked or whatever it was.
But you can't beat up that guy. You should only beat up the guys you are allowed to beat up.
If it was Hugh Morris he'd have done it too, he'd have probably been the world champion by now. We get a recap of Chris Benoit's surgery.
This is great.
It is, but it's also very historic because it features the line that will be in all of the upcoming Don't Try This at Home videos. It's this soundbite here. "I fractured a disc that fragmented into my spinal column." It's from this video package that's in all of the upcoming Don't Try This at Home videos.
Oh, well, it's a great place to take it from. So, Benoit got injured in the triple threat in the main event of King of the Ring. And I really like this. It's, at a time where I've been saying this feels like an entertainment show. This is 2 minutes long. Suddenly it feels like a sports show.
Yeah.
A great bit of variety and changing up the tone. So it's Benoit. It's like a sort of mini speed run documentary on Chris Benoit's medical consultation, the doctor running us through what's wrong, then the surgery.
Is his name Dr. Goodblood or something?
His name is Dr. Lloyd Youngblood.
Youngblood, that's it, yeah.
That's a gimmick name. But he's taught, you've got wear and tear, but you've also got a ruptured disc.
Which fragmented into the spinal column.
And then, the doctor says surgery was a success. We've taken a bit of the pelvic bone, put it into the neck, put some titanium plates in there as well. And the recovery time we expect is the hard collar's going to be on for a month. Then he'll go through a recovery program, which is about a year long. Fantastic. It grounds the goofy kayfabe action.
It does indeed. Up next for the Light Heavyweight Championship, X-Pac defends against Christian. X-Pac coming out with Just Incredible. And I think they're missing a trick here, because clearly you're right. Like, they have given up on X-Factor as a faction, because surely you want to be talking about how they're a winning group right now. They've got 2 title belts.
Yeah. They did mention that, but it's just in passing.
Oh, did they? Sorry, I must have missed that. Justin tries to cheat on X-Pac's behalf, but Edge stops him. This distracts the referee, and X-Pac clocks Christian with the title belt to retain, which he gets massive heat for.
Yeah.
Putting it over that X-Pac is the heel here, but I think that's actually just a receipt for Backlash 2000 when Christian clocked him with the belt and busted him open massively.
Crowd and Nuclear against X-Pac. Functional match, just there. There's a line from Heyman. Because they start not to... I didn't actually write down the time of this match. I think it's like 4 minutes. Heyman in it is talking about the larger invasion storyline, and he says that he is confident he isn't in his employment with WWF, and he accused JR of trying to curry favor with Shane McMahon. Like, oh, you're just saying these things. You're defending WCW because you want to get a job over there. But I love Vince McMahon. I'm very happy over here with the WWF. Now, we know that he'll turn on the WWF
next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
So this is, I was like, I can't remember when everything was decided. This is either a great setup heel swerve line, or he didn't know what was happening yet.
Well, they don't know, because the ECW decision is not going to be made until later this week of this episode. I think it's like even after they've taped SmackDown.
Yeah.
The plan is still to do WCW on Raw and WWF on SmackDown. It's only until like mid-late this week, because they have to buy all the ECW assets to get all that together, to get that next episode ready, which you can go watch us review right now over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, where no doubt, I haven't actually gone into the research for it yet, there's going to be quite a lot about how WWF gets all of ECWs from the bankruptcy holding from the parent company that had them, HGG or whatever it was. But yeah, I thought that was a decent little match. And then backstage, Bradshaw is telling Farouk that he thinks it's Test, maybe Test is the mole, and a referee walks up and says like, oh, do you know what I saw earlier? I saw Test chatting with Booker T. Bradshaw cannot believe his ears. They found their mole. Uh-oh, someone's in WWF New York.
It's like freaking prison, this place. Purgatory.
Taz is in WWF New York, and a server asks him if he's okay, but he is not in a good mood. What he wants is an apology from Steve Austin, because on SmackDown, it was Austin beat up Taz. They were supposed to have a match. They were actually scheduled to have a match, and they were planned to have a match, but Steve's so beaten up at the moment he can't do it. And actually, like, Steve does talk about this in the book. That's why him and Kurt are put together to do comedy, because neither of them can wrestle. So a way to get them on the show and to keep them on the show is just to have them in backstage segments where they can just do stuff together.
I don't know why that doesn't happen more now. Like, if you're injured, like, put CM Punk on commentary, you know, like back in the day. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to be totally removed. You can be a manager. You can do promos.
But then you can't get the return pop.
That is a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, so I just thought this is Taz being unhappy at New York. It's his home. This is where he lives.
It was a short commute for him.
What is in his glass? This is a giant pint glass of just red, transparent liquid.
So, here's my theory. It's a red glass. The liquid is not red. The glass is red.
I don't know. I think I can see it just see through at the top.
No, I think what you can see here, like, see there's sort of water. You see this little orange thing here? I think that's like an orange slice or like a lemon slice maybe that's in his water.
Okay. So he's just having water and some food.
He's having
but
water
not
and
touching
some chicken tenders.
It's going to get cold.
It probably was already cold. It came from WWF New York. Up next, it's Rhino versus...
There's not like any Google reviews of WWF New York.
I bet you there are. I mean, I remember sending the Attitude Era podcast this a while back. Someone was selling a WWF New York menu. And let me tell you, I nearly bought it. I wanted to buy that thing on eBay. If I was working here at the time, I would have suggested that we buy it.
Yeah, and I would have backed it. Generally characterize the food as average or, quote,
Going on to eBay now. What can you get for WWF New York these days?
Okay, all right.
Alex has been there. Alex, Queen of the Ring.
Nitro Grill, not interested.
There's a good YouTube video about Nitro Grill, actually, if anyone's interested.
It was chicken fingers, regular cheeseburger, things like that. Nothing real good. No cool names on the food either, but the place itself was really cool. Someone says, same. But I'd say that my standards at 16 were way different from me at 38. As a kid, I thought it was amazing. Pretty much a themed Applebee's.
Yeah. We don't have those here, so I don't really know what to compare that to.
But yeah.
Sadly, no menus on sale on eBay at the moment. A couple of WWF New York like merchandise, like shirts or baseball caps.
A lot of people are saying the atmosphere was awesome, but the food was medium.
Yeah, I bet you the atmosphere was awesome on a Monday night. If you went there on a Tuesday, it was dead. Up next, it's Rhino versus Test. with huge implications on the line here, because the winner of this match will become the second announced match for the Invasion. The winner of this match will face Mike Awesome for the Hardcore Championship at Invasion.
Well, and you're being glib about this.
I'm only being glib because it doesn't happen.
But it's the Hardcore title. It's 24/7 rules.
Well, yeah,
It's not surprising it's changed hands.
but Mike's not around, so he can't be there to have the 24/7 thing against him. So it's going to be a scheduled match. Mike Awesome has to be here to defend this Hardcore Championship.
Oh, well,
Like, in theory, I think this is all great, and it's exciting because Rhino wins this match. So great, we've now got a second match announced for the pay-per-views for the Hardcore title. 2 ECW guys, 2 former ECW champions. I'm only being glib because I know it's not going to happen. Because plans are changing in a couple of days.
Next week, Rhino will be on the same team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he will be. It's probably why the match doesn't go ahead. So, I went into almost there. I was like, no, I know that Rhino's in the main event and Michael's in the tag opener, so something's going to happen. The APA and the locker room come out.
Yeah,
right?
very quickly. This also isn't a hardcore match.
No, this is just a straight singles match.
It's just a straight singles match for the hardcore title.
So, I wanted to play a little game with you here. Can you name the WWF mid-card that beat up Test after the match?
Well, there's Funaki, there's Raven, there's Farouk, there's Bradshaw.
Okay. I've got everyone, so I will tick people off as you get them. So, okay, so you got the APA.
R-Truth, K-Quick is in there.
K-Quick, Raven you got.
Bob Holly,
Bob
Seb
Holly's there.
Funaki.
Yep.
Jerry Lynn, of course.
Yep.
Now, there were a few... It's not Haku, is it? Who's that with the crazy hair?
Is that you guess?
I'm not confident. Is that Billy Gunn? I'm going to say Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn is one of them. That is Billy Gunn indeed. You identified him.
Oh... I think... How many am I missing?
You are missing one...
Taka Michinoku.
Yep. Yeah. So you got... there's one... And there's two, actually. There's two that you're missing, because you said Jerry Lynn as well. You've got the APA, Hardcore Holly, K-Quick,
green shirt guy.
Billy Gunn, Raven, Kaientai, Haku, and Jerry Lynn. Yeah, there are two that you're missing.
So it's these two at the back. I can't really see
It's the guy
them.
in the white vest and the guy in the Hawaiian shirt.
I can't really see them, nor recognize...
The guy in the wife beater.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize for ages. It was only until like the end. It was like here. I was like, I paused it, and then it hit me ever so suddenly, and I had to double check that I was right, and it turns out I was.
You're gonna have to tell me.
So the guy in the Hawaiian shirt is Bull Buchanan.
In the white shirt?
No, in the Hawaiian shirt.
Really?
Yeah, that's Bull. Yeah, so there you go. If you. Absolutely. He's one of your own, Bob. That guy there.
Okay.
That's Bob Buchanan. The guy in the white vest.
It's because he's got hair. That's why I don't recognize him.
Is S.A. Rios. S.A. Rios he was actually in WWF in like 1998 at 17 years old. He was like part of their light heavyweight division as Aguila. And he would probably become most famous as S.A. Rios because his manager was Lita. He was used on Sunday Night Heat a lot to get Lita over, and she would be his second and then do the moonsault afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. That is, can you name the WWF mid-card or lower mid-card?
I think I did all right.
You actually did very well.
Even though these are the mid-card or lower mid-card or, maybe even higher undercard, this works way better as them fending off a threat than I would say like the Dark Order challenging the Death Riders.
Yeah, okay.
I do think this is good.
Well, and it's because Bradshaw and Bob Holly are literally punching people in the face, which I don't think John Silver's going to do.
But it's also,
with all due respect to John Silver,
it's like the mid card have taken it upon themselves. Brand loyalty. Yeah. We're gonna find out the people. But yeah, Jerry Lynn and R-Truth, the Eternal Man.
One of those guys as well is going to join the baddies next week.
And it would be Raven.
Yeah, Raven joins the baddies next week. Jerry Lynn, I don't think, joins the Alliance.
Disrespect.
Probably because they forgot he was there. They all beat up Test because they think he's the mole. We've got more wrestling coming up next as Matt Hardy and Lita team together to take on Big Show and Trish Stratus.
Our second intergender match of the night.
Yeah. JR talks about how this upcoming invasion has been on the lips of wrestling fans for years. All of the dream matches, they're finally going to happen at the invasion. You've got to buy the pay-per-view. And I'm like, none of the dream matches that fans have been talking about for years are happening at that show.
Is RVD Tate?
RVD Jeff is the one.
I'd say that is probably the only. Yeah. That actually is a dream match.
It's also the only good match on that show as well. That match is genuinely brilliant as well. The ladder match they have.
This is where we get the PlayStation 1 sponsor logo for Invasion.
Crowd are so hot for the Hardys and Lita. Lita tries to give Big Show the Hurricane Rana, and Matt helps her topple him over.
So, just as context, so at King of the Ring, Lita was jealous or thought something was going on between Trish and Matt.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
So that's why this is.
That's why this is going on here. Show takes out both Matt and Jeff, even though he's not part of the match. Bulldog by Trish, but she kicks out. She tries again, but Lita launches her into the ropes. Matt and Lita low blow Big Show and giving the double DDT. Messy as F twist of fate because Trish goes down before Lita has completed her turning revolution. Here we go.
I've got it.
So you twist, then twist. Nope. She hits the moonsault. Team Extreme get the win. This crowd went bonkers for this.
They went bonkers for Lita.
And the Hardys.
I don't think they care about that.
You are high as a kite. Because the second that Matt takes his shirt off, there is this high-pitched scream for the Hardy Boys. And anytime Jeff is doing anything, you can hear women just go ballistic for these guys. Guys in their 20s, I should hasten to add, because they were pushing young talent.
Big Show wiped out the winners. He's about to beat up Trish too, and Jeff saves her.
Yes.
Nice.
That will lead to a backstage segment on SmackDown where Trish starts to flirt with Jeff. Vince and Tori walk down a corridor. Vince says, in so many words, that he wants to consummate the arrangements. She has a plan on where to go. It's Tori's idea of where to go because she knows where they're going to do the final setup for this.
And she's portraying like she's into this. She knows the deal here. Let's just do it.
Shane walks backstage. He chats with Buff Bagwell. That's his first appearance on the show and just says, good luck.
Well, at least he's not being turned down to buy Pepsi. I don't know if, who... Do our audience really know what Buff is? Because this is Buff.
Yeah, this is a Buff Bagwell.
This is a Buff Bagwell in the wild. That's how he dresses. That is his moustache. That is his hat.
I always thought a bit of the George Michael about him.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Not the hat.
No, not the hat. No, just the glasses and the mustache.
I think the hat is uniquely Buff. No one before or since has dared take the hat because they know they will be derivative of the stuff.
You haven't got the stuff to be Buff. But he says he doesn't need luck. He's got skill. Backstage, the APA are celebrating in their office because they have killed a mole. The Godfather has joined them. Mm-hmm. Where were you earlier? And then who walks in? Sergeant Slaughter walks in.
What a treat.
What a treat. And he's like, you maggots have got it wrong. It can't be Test because Test was with me.
That is a good impression of Sarge.
Thanks, man.
Again, the Sunday Night Heat's in us. There's...
what we are watching is the cast of Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah, weirdly, for we are two wrestling fans who got into it in 98 onwards. Sarge is a Dave Bradshaw guy, that's carding. But we love old Sarge, don't we? Commissioner Sarge.
This is my Sarge.
Yes,
this is the Sarge that I like. But yeah, that's why I like the APA, Kai and Sai. Oh, so many memorable matches. Regal, Raven, all of these guys. But yeah, so Sarge says it can't be Test, and Bradshaw then sort of looks around. I wonder if it was someone here then.
Cool setup. It keeps the mystery going.
You can retroactively say it was Raven.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, he was there.
Bradshaw did not feel bad at all. No one seemed to feel bad that they just kicked the crap out of Test.
Well, Hardcore Holly was happy. He got to beat someone up. That's all he ever wants to do.
I feel like nowadays, the people on screen would go, oh no, we did that to Test. But back in the Attitude Era,
Whoops.
well, I guess we'll beat up someone else. Who could it be?
All of a sudden, the graphics flick over from WWF to WCW. We'll just skip through here because that's the end of it. And yet, like, literally, JR and Heyman say, well, that's it. This is our end of the broadcast over. We are now handing this over to Shane McMahon. It's got nothing to do with us. It's like what Michael Cole does before they show the Woken deletion, where he's like, what you're about to see has got nothing to do with us. This has got nothing to do with me. I'm sorry this is about to happen.
Heyman literally says, whatever happens next, don't blame me, don't blame JR, don't blame the WWF. And sure, like he's the heel guy, and that's meant to build up WCW. But then when they deliver a bad match, I'm just like, oh, okay, so it is bad. And everyone's aware of it. So if you just put that back on the screen, this might be a bit of overcompensation.
Because of the logos.
We now have the WCW logo on screen 5 times in one shot. I'm all for branding, but that's on the back. Tron, that's projected on the ramp. You can't see it. I think Shane is also walking over a WCW, but that's covered by the name bar graphic, which has WCW owner logo, Shane McMahon, WCW at the bottom of that, and the WCW channel bug or show bug rather in the bottom left.
Yeah.
Usually you would program the graphic, that bottom left one would animate off for the name bar to stop clashes, but who cares?
Who cares?
Like, it's not going to be a real thing. So. Just spam WCW up there.
Shane comes out. What's up, you guys? WCW's in the house now. Not much of a reaction to that, but you can hear a smattering of boos because this crowd, do you know what they really wanted to see? Stephen Kurt.
Yeah.
They wanted to see Undertaker and the WWF. They bought tickets to go to WWF Raw. And out of nowhere, they just tell these people in Tacoma, Washington, last half an hour of the show is going to be WCW. That's not what they bought a ticket for. And so you hear people realize what's going on and so, boo. Boo.
And it's weird because I guess I've always thought, but if I was alive at that time and I was at that show, I'd be like, oh my God, how cool. But then if you actually think about it, yeah, sure, WWF has been telling their fan base they're the competition, they're bad for 5-6 years. But it's also been a terrible show for a year and a half. So it's like, imagine like the final hour is, well, we've got main event. No, not the main event. We've got Mixed Match Challenge.
Yeah.
It's a dead brand.
This would happen today if the last half hour of Raw became TNA.
Yes.
And TNA, and it's going to be...
Oh, I think people would cheer that, though.
I don't think they would. I think the larger crowd would boo that because they bought tickets to see WWF Raw. They bought tickets to see Rhea Ripley and Io Sky and Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker, not to see AJ Francis versus Rich Swann.
Yeah. Well, there may be a better comparison then is when WWE themselves turned the final hour of Raw into the Cruiserweight Purple show.
Yeah.
And just everyone left. Well, not everyone, but half the audience would leave in that final hour. That's what it feels like because it's not the main event.
It's not. So he says that this is going to be a brand new look. This is a brand new presentation, and we've got a brand new ring announcer. It's Stacy Keibler who will be doing the ring announcing, and your commentary team is Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson. Nick Patrick is the referee, tricky Nick Patrick, the heel ref du jour. But Scott Hudson there, more WCW logoing.
Do you want to hear Stacy's ring intro? Nick Patrick. She sounds a bit like a South Park character. I'm not saying that is her, but her trying to do the ring announcing voice makes her sound like, buddy.
You all know who I'm talking about.
I know. I thought of it too.
Real vibes, right? Real vibes.
That's exactly what I thought. The crowd, look, Stacey is not... Ring announcing is an art. You can't just say, hey, do you want to do ring announcing? You have to get good at it. But there is an argument for putting Stacey in there because the crowd at this time are going to pop for someone who looks like Stacey Keibler.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah. And like, it's what so this was never going to work, A, because of how they set it up. B, they did very little promotion for it. C, do you know what I think doesn't help this? So much delay, like so much just like dicking around, because Shane comes out and does a promo. He brings out Stacey Keibler, Scott Hudson, and Arn Anderson. Then Stacey introduces Nick Patrick, the referee. Then William Regal comes out to escort Shane from the building. Then we start getting the introduction. There's too much dicking about before you get into it. If you'd have done like, say for the sake of argument, the last 45 minutes with WCW, and you put on Billy Kidman and Shane Helms, and they went out there and had a wicked 5-minute match to really sort of like try and heat the crowd up a little bit. Maybe it might have served a bit of a better chance.
I think we're going down. We're trying to fix the wrong things. It needed to be Ric Flair versus Sting.
Okay,
that's the answer.
That is the answer. If this was Goldberg coming out and squashing Q Morris, a completely different reaction.
I think if Bobby Heenan if Joey Styles is on commentary, no, it doesn't matter if it's Lance Storm, Jerry Lawler, Joey Styles. This only works with Goldberg and Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair and Sting.
Meltzer says on the Laps Fan podcast, and I think I actually do agree with him there. He made the point of like, you didn't need to get everyone. You didn't need to buy out the contracts of Hogan, Nash, Steiner, and Ric Flair. You just needed Goldberg. That was the one guy you needed to fork out the money for. Because if you had Goldberg, the whole conversation changes. Because you could have built the pay-per-view around the main event of that show is Austin versus Goldberg.
Yeah, just brilliant.
Meltzer, like, I think he's right. Maybe we'll talk about this more when we do the Invasion episode next month. Because, like, the Invasion is a huge pay-per-view buy rate with the shit that they promoted for it. Can you imagine if they actually promoted something massive for that show?
Yeah. Just on the idea of having all of these bits and this being quite drawn out, I both agree and don't agree. Or disagree, some might say. I agree in that this is not what this show needs with this star power and this presentation. It just isn't there.
Yeah.
Plus, we've had a very hyperactive, every segment is very short and big. And here we're going into the slow. But if it did have a big time feel, if this was the World Heavyweight Championship, the lineage going back, it's Ric Flair's grand entrance, I think you'd look at this actually quite a good structure for a show.
Yeah,
here's
that's
the
true.
Hyperactive Attitude Era Raw, and then the last half hour is the grand main event world title presentation.
What I more mean is I don't think you needed the Regal bit.
Oh yeah,
I think that's what I mean. Is Regal coming out just adds an extra level of can we just get there already? Because you're starting to lose this crowd anyway. Delaying it further doesn't help matters. So Regal comes out to escort Shane McMahon from the building, and Shane's like, "All right," and that's that. And off he goes.
He said, "The promotion shouldn't be about me. It's about the wrestlers. It's not like WWF and my dad's ego."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I actually think you needed to be out there to elevate these guys.
It's to hype the crowd up. Arn is so mumbly and quiet on commentary. Oh man, if you ask me, this is bigger than D-Day. This is bigger than the moon landing.
Hudson's good. Hudson's
is
actually pretty
good. Scott Hudson comes in, WCW.
Yeah.
But and then next to him, bigger than the moon landing.
Bang, bang.
Oh, if you ask me, I never thought I'd be here. Oof, by golly, I never thought I'd be here to see the day. I'll be here on Monday Night Raw. For the WCW Championship, Booker T defends against Buff Bagwell. Bless her, Stacey is no ring announcer.
15 minutes left of the show. Not much of that will be devoted to this match.
No. Booker T, 3-time WCW champion at this point of his career, so 2 more yet to come. And the crowd already start to boo for this, and then it just gets louder, and it only gets louder when Booker T falls over while doing a sidekick.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned WrestleMania 20 earlier. I meant specifically Brock Lesnar Goldberg. Like, that crowd already knew before the bell rang, we're gonna dump on this match. And that's like the jeering. You can hear the whistling just to really be obnoxious. And yeah, it just isn't the product the WWF are used to. We've just had loads of 3-minute matches with interference. And these aren't stars. These aren't entrances they're familiar with. And they're working a 10-minute WCW pace.
Yeah. Well, you keep saying 10 minutes. It's a 5-minute match. It's the same.
grief.
It's the same length as like the Jericho Dudley's match.
I genuinely can't believe.
Well,
that.
do you know why you think it's a 10-minute match? Because the structure of this match is Booker T fires up and then he falls over, and the crowd chant boring. Do you know what's not going to help the crowd chant boring? Buff Bagwell putting on a rest hold. So then they get more boos. Do you know what Buff Bagwell does to respond to that? Puts on another rest hold. This is not going to help things. It's so the action is so boring in the ring. The camera pans across to Scott Hudson and Arn Anderson watching the wrestling as they just go like, ho ho, historic night here on Monday Night Raw. Oh my God, this is a historic night here. Oh, bigger than the day. It's so boring. And then Booker makes a comeback and the crowd boo it even more.
Yeah.
And then I've written here, oh, this will help. They fuck something up. The crowd boo louder. Do you know what will help? They repeat the spot they just fucked up.
And then, like, Booker T looks around, and he's got that sort of intense look when he's just about to hit the spinneroonie. It's like, oh, people want me. Yeah, I'm going to hit it. This look of Booker's looks more like, this isn't going well.
Uh-oh.
And then he goes for the spinneroonie, probably thinking, all right, I'll pull out a big gun. This always gets a pop. And there's no change. There's not like a louder boo or a slight pop in the background. It is the same din of cheers.
Yeah. It is. It's like a 2K sound effect. Yeah. It's just always at the same level the entire time. He hits the scissors kick, does the spinneroonie, and then Austin and Angle run down to attack Booker, and this crowd explodes with hooray!
Yeah, but the beatdown is no good either. Again, because of Buff.
Oh yeah, but Buff is bad.
I guess because Kurt and Steve can't really do much. They're not taking bumps. But then, did anyone clue Buff into what they're going to do here? Look, he lost. They're not talking to him.
No, they are not. So clearly are they not saying anything to him. And they're just beating up Booker T while Buff is also there.
They're hanging him out to dry. And Buff's not doing good either, but, it's a dance in there. You need a partner, and Buff is isolated.
So they beat him up. They're trying to babyface Booker up so much, but this crowd just keeps cheering as he's getting beaten up. They drag him to the back. And then we cut to Vince McMahon. In this WCW portion of the show, we cut to Vince and Tori.
And it's the Attitude Era. Oh, they're going to the back. I get to see some backstage brawl stuff. No, cuts to a totally unrelated story that does not then intersect with this. It makes sense if Booker, they burst into the room and that's what stops Vince and Tori canoodling. But no, totally unrelated.
This segment should have aired before the WCW portion of the show started.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to Vince and Tori, and he's like, oh, you're going to be a huge WWF superstar. They're in a laundry room together, and Vince, I'm just going to takes off his wedding ring. Tori undresses Vince very slowly and aggressively in a way, and he's like, oh, I like aggressive. And then he says, I like aggressive WWF superstars. And he says, you're going to go all the way to the top. All the way to the top to Mr. Mac Daddy.
Climb the ladder to be on top of Mr. Mac Daddy.
This goes on. This actually is longer than Booker T versus Buff Bagwell.
We've had some cum noises on this show.
There's a line. Put that on a t-shirt.
Well, the sort of Anderson. We've had a lot of noises, but they're usually not related to these things. I don't know if we can even play this stuff.
It's going to be blurred, and even then it feels gratuitous.
We should find a way to at least charismatic people on the planet have so many huge pops to her name.
You'd think Rhea Ripley walked in.
Look, it's disgusting.
It really is.
But it's meant to be disgusting.
But, okay, it is disgusting. It's meant to be disgusting. But then the comedy kicks in even further because here's what Vince does next.
No. Separate the behind the scenes stuff on screen. That is a receipt.
Yeah.
He absolutely humiliated himself. And yet, there's always that thing that Vince would never ask the performers to do what he wouldn't do himself in terms of moves. He's just got his ass out on TV.
Yeah. I have to admit, I mean, you just heard me then. When I was watching this, I proper laughed.
It's a great reveal.
Yeah, it is funny.
Because they've told the story throughout the episode. This guy's gross. He's leching on this girl. He's going to exploit his position. He is the lechy boss stereotype, and he gets his comeuppance.
And then we cut to Austin Angle and Buff Bagwell still beating up Booker T. And they throw him outside. It's so funny. On the SmackDown that comes after this, they show a replay of this, and then it cuts to Booker T coming into the building, and it's the same door he was thrown out of.
Oh, because it's in the same...
It's in the same building. Buff celebrates with Angle and Austin because they did this together. And then Austin Angle beat him up too, and the crowd cheer.
And they throw him out the same door.
This is not making WCW look good.
And that's the end of the WCW main event on Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
Sure, that's great. That's a good setup for Nitro, or not even Nitro, WCW Raw from
hard on Monday night
from August.
Yep. So on SmackDown, it's the WCW Championship, Booker T versus DDP. You'll never guess what. Undertaker runs down and beats up DDP, and it doesn't get a finish there either. But we do get a new Cruiserweight champion.
Poor Vince didn't get a finish.
He gets a cowboy hat on the next episode. So this is from Bob Holly's books, The Hardcore Truth. The biggest jerk by a mile was Buff Bagwell. He had a horrendous attitude, and he got what he deserved. He messed up by not getting that he wasn't in WCW anymore. He showed up to house shows when he wanted to show up. He wouldn't shake anyone's hand, and he wouldn't change in the same place as anyone else. He wanted a room to himself. Sometimes, when he decided he didn't want to come to the house shows, he had his mum call the office to say that he was sick.
I've heard that story before.
I think we'll talk about that when he gets fired in a couple of weeks' time.
Judy Bagwell.
Judy Bagwell, indeed. Not on a poll. Somebody took him aside and smarted him up, telling him that this is the way it is. This is our procedure. But he still refused to play along, and he paid for it dearly. Jim Ross got Ron Bradshaw and me together and told us to kick the shit out of him. That's what we did. We hit the ring, and we took turns with him. I didn't beat him up hard enough to break his nose or knock his teeth out, but I hit him pretty hard. Bradshaw and Ron did a lot more damage than I did. They were competing to see who could hit him harder. I was a distant third in that competition. I would say that Bagwell didn't speak to me after that, but he refused to speak to me even before that. That pissed me off. They ended up sending him to Connecticut to the WWF TV studio so he could learn how to work properly and fit in. I guess he smarted off too much while he was there, because Shane Helms blasted him with a water bottle and knocked him out. Bagwell got fired pretty soon after that. It was never going to work out with him because he thought he was too much of a superstar. Most of the other guys got in pretty quickly and knew where they stood in the locker room. They knew they had to start fresh. Not Buff, though.
Well, so sometimes there's some wrestlers where I'm like, well, like Sin Cara is a famous one who went to WWE. What was it? Mystico.
Yeah,
And he
Mystico.
went to WWE, and WWE were like, who's this guy? It's like, come on, he's the biggest star in Mexico. And
Triple
you're
H's
treating him like a jobber.
Triple H's first failed project.
And here it's like, nah, I don't think Buff was justified in his swagger.
Exactly, yeah. He really thought he was a big deal, and he unfortunately was not. He was the small fish in a big pond going into the WWF. And I don't tend to subscribe to that idea of like, you're in the big leagues now, kid. Like when they say to Penta when he debuts on Raw, it's like, welcome to the big leagues. Like I don't buy into that nonsense whatsoever. But Buff was not a WCW champion. He was not Goldberg. He was not Sting. He was not Hogan. But by all accounts, he walked in with the attitude that he was because he was mates with Lex Luger for a bit.
You mentioned earlier that you had heard rumors that this could have been an audible. Was there any...
as I said, I couldn't find... It's in no one's book that I've read that says that they called the audible and sent Austin and Angle down. Because the reason why I think some people think it's an audible is because Shane sets up earlier in the night that Steve Austin was not allowed to run down and interfere, but Steve does anyway. Yeah. But I can find no writings that it wasn't audible. I think this was always the plan. If only because they do the same finish on SmackDown.
And then they cut back to... Like the Vince cut seemed to have been planned because that would be a production thing. Yeah.
There you go.
Huh?
That is the WWF Raw, where WCW officially dies. Because next week's Raw, everything is about to change. Everything that we've been talking about for the last couple of episodes is thrown out the window. We are starting again from scratch. We are going in a brand new direction. We are going with a brand new idea. And this is where we're heading now towards the invasion. And another company's joining.
Yeah, and you can watch that right now on patreon.com/WrestleTalk, as you can the other huge arc series we've done. We've done the rise and fall of the Nexus.
Mm-hmm.
We've done the breakup of the Shield, the Samoa Joe Kurt Angle rivalry, and the Aces and Eights in TNA.
Yeah.
That's like, it's probably over 100 hours.
Well, I mean, like this.
Oh, and The Rock versus John Cena.
That's right, yeah, the first one that we did. Yeah, there probably is about 100 hours worth of stuff there just in this video format, not to like the archive, because we've been doing monthly show reviews like this since 2017.
Yeah.
So nearly 10 years worth of stuff there. So head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to go and watch us review the next episode of Raw when it's about to get taken to the extreme.